Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, here we are, along with the Stormtrooper and country singer Luke Michaels.
And you're Joe Dirt.
I'm Joe Dirt. How ridiculous is this?
You look good. Hey, you look real
Oh,
good.
my God.
Well, the mullet suits you. The mullet suits you, my friend.
So?
I think it
should have
does.
worn a hat, maybe. You know, I got the beautiful locks.
The little poof upstairs.
Goes good with the beard. Cut off sleeves here. Tyvis worked hard in his costume. He's ready to kill some people.
Yeah, you know
with
it.
his lightsaber. Mike is just, a
country music
singer.
star. Country music star.
Yeah, that's good. It is Halloween. Look, can we get the camera on Steve? Look at Steve. He's got the best costume of everybody.
Anthony and Steve both dressed up today.
I mean, Earl couldn't dress up. He's too much of a big shot. Look at Steve.
And
He's master of Steve. Stand up for a second. We got to see you. He's master of ceremonies.
The gold jacket,
He's
by
got
the
a
way.
disco ball hanging down.
Bling, bling.
Anthony, what are you supposed to be? I don't even know.
I'm a Pokemon gym leader.
Okay.
I went with something really easy that I had everything for.
And Earl's just dressed up as a Laker fan today. I mean,
I thought it was a Michigan fan.
No, he's wearing like a Lakers shirt or something. I don't know.
I took my glasses off. I honestly
Earl, why
can't
couldn't
see.
you get dressed up? You can't get the spirit of things?
I'm not really big on Halloween.
I hate Halloween, and I'm dressed up. I think it's annoying.
I second what he just said.
Yeah,
It's funny. None of us are actually big Halloween people, but
No.
we decided today we might as well have a little fun with it.
Well, we'll take you behind the scenes. So yesterday we decided we were going to dress up for Halloween. So I went to the Halloween store and bought this stupid wig. And then last night, Mike's like, well, you sure you guys want to dress up? And the other guys were like, no. I said, I just spent $20 on this stupid thing. You guys better dress up.
So here we are. And now I'm
right.
a country music singer. We have Tyvis,
Yeah.
who's back in his Ohio State apparel.
Yeah.
We have Anthony,
That's
the
it.
Pokemon trainer. We have Director Steve, the gold ball, the man of all
And well,
many traits.
I wonder what Mike Florio's reaction is going to be when he joins us in
10 minutes, give or take.
12 minutes to this outfit. He usually doesn't get it. Maybe when he's doing interviews in Oklahoma and places like that, he sees people like this. I don't know.
I have to put it back on when
put
he
the
gets
Star
on.
Wars. Yeah, you got to put it back on. for
Yeah.
that.
We do have a big show, though, today.
We do. Mary
Big
Kay's going to be here at 12. She's used to us being a little crazy, so she'll be all right. She's used to it. She wrote an article about Josh Dobbs. I got to talk to her about that because I don't agree. I actually don't think Josh Dobbs is even an upgrade on P.J. Walker. I think he's just as bad.
I mean,
We're going to spend a lot of time on that in a little bit.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Mike's trying to hurry me along. Don't worry about it, Mike. We'll be all right. We're gonna grade the PFF grades. We'll get to a lot of it today, but we'll say hello to Anthony, who's in Mike's chair, because G. Bush can't get out of bed still. He's
Yeah,
a mess.
guys, before we get into everything today, I want to remind everybody that score early this NFL with this season's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now is no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. You guys can visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off this NFL season. And today's FanDuel bet comes from our boy Martian at Starboy Master. Put $2 on a 25-game parlay and won $1,996.
That's a massive turnaround, by the way.
That is crazy.
A $2 wager, a 25-leg parlay that resulted in $1,096.53. Shout out to Martian. That is our biggest ticket winner of the FanDuel
For a
UCSS
$2
partnership
bet.
yet.
I mean, talk about the great value there.
Unbelievable return on investment there.
All right, I want to look at the latest FanDuel line. Bring up fresh here. The Browns are back to a 7.5-point favorite. They opened as a 7.5-point favorite against the Cardinals and went down to 7, and now it's back up to 7.5 with the unknown quarterback situation. But obviously, guys, the big story of the day, we'll get to the quarterback situation. We don't know who's starting for the Cardinals. We don't know who's starting for the Browns. And we don't know if anybody's going to make a trade. The trade deadline is just under 5 hours from now.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a little hard to concentrate.
It is. Have you ever thought about growing your hair out like that?
Never.
You look good. I'm telling you, it's a good look.
This is an awful look. What are you talking about? I look like an idiot.
I think he looks good.
I can't take you seriously. Go ahead. What's the question now?
I can't take myself seriously. Look, oh, my beautiful locks. I don't know what the hell the question is.
The question is, all right,
Are the
Browns going to make a quarterback move? Minnesota's in a similar situation. Kirk Cousins is out for the season.
Okay.
They've been linked now in just the last
Jameis.
12, 24 hours
Yeah.
to Jameis and a couple
Are
of
you going to be
quarterbacks.
even more pissed if the Browns don't make a move if you see a team like Minnesota, who's got a worse record than the Browns, make a move? Yes or no?
No, I'm not.
Does that factor in?
No, because I know I know Minnesota's going to make a move. I think that they're in the same situation as the Browns were. They have a rookie as a backup, so they didn't have any veteran presence there. And I think that for them, they have an unproven rookie. See,
Yeah.
with us, they have P.J. Walker, who played a little bit in the league, and he's won some games. He's 2-1 as the Browns starting quarterback. So I think that they think that they're more secure because they kind of know what they got. Whereas this rookie backup, you don't necessarily know.
Jaron Hall.
At BYU.
Yeah, BYU guy. So you don't know what you're necessarily going to get. And you're 500, so you're still right in the middle of the road for the fight. And you got to make sure that you keep this roster, make them think that, hey, they still believe in us and we still have a chance. So going to get a guy like Jameis Winston,
Yeah.
a guy that's proven, a guy that can get the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, I think that will keep that roster still motivated. To whereas Cleveland, they've played with P.J. Walker and they've won games and obviously they lost the game, but they still are behind.
You think the players believe in him? Because if I'm a player on the Browns, Davis, I'm like, we got to get a better quarterback.
So, do I think the players believe in him? When I listen to them talk in post game, yes, they sound like they do. However, I do believe that there is some frustration in the wide receiver room because if you look at the tape, it's guys that's running wide open that he's missing.
Wide open.
And I think for him, I think that their game plan is Kevin's like, listen, this is what you're going to do. You look for Amari Cooper, you look for the check down. If not, throw the ball away. I don't think he's actually going through reads and progressions like, this is cover 2. So in cover 2, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. I don't think that's what he's doing.
If you play that way, you're playing with a hand tied behind your back. I mean, you can't win consistently, especially against good teams, playing that way, can you?
No.
I would say no, but he is 2-1. So that's the thing. Kevin Stefanski's putting them in a position to win.
And it's miraculous that they're 2-1. Mike, what do you think?
I think everything Tavis said is right. The difference here is Kirk Cousins is out for the entire season, and we just don't know when Deshaun Watson's going to come back. So to make a splash move and bring in a guy, and I'll use Jameis as an example because that's who Minnesota is linked to. Well, Minnesota's 4-4.
Yeah.
They're in the thick of the playoff race. Detroit leads that division, but the division's not over by any means. They're 2 games back at this point. You're looking at the rest of the season. That's 9 games. Jameis Winston coming in can help you win a handful of 9 games. Jaron Hall, that's a complete crapshoot. We may have Deshaun Watson back this week against Arizona.
We might not.
We might not. We may have him back next week against Baltimore. We might not. It could be the following week. But without that long-term certainty that he's going to miss a prolonged period of time, I'm not sure how much of an upgrade getting someone in other than Brissett, and he's the one exception, would be for a 1 or 2 game stopgap. Because P.J. Walker, to Tavis's point, has proven, despite being almost dead last, if not dead last, in every important basic statistic, analytical statistic, and the eye test, they've found ways to be in 3 straight games.
Okay. Now, you guys are wrong, and that's okay. It's good to be wrong sometimes. It builds character. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. This idea that his record is 2-1, I don't care what his record is because he contributed almost not. He's been a net negative
That's a fact.
in all 3 of those games.
Fact.
So they have found a way to win in spite of him, not because of him. So I'm giving him 0 credit for the 2-1 record. Okay. 0.
Fair.
All right. And listen, I get what you're saying about the guys on some level believe in him. He's fighting for the team, and that has value. There's no doubt about it. But in the end, he's not a good enough quarterback, and every player on that team knows it. And the Browns have a good enough team that this idea that, because Deshaun Watson's not out for the year, they shouldn't do anything. No, because Deshaun Watson is not, in theory, out for the year, it's even more imperative than they do something because if they get a quarterback who's at least serviceable, like solid, startable, like a Jacoby Brissett, or even a Jameis Winston, even though I was kind of against that last week. I flip-flopped on that a week later as I've gotten desperate and seen P.J. Walker be terrible again. Or Andy Dalton. Those guys are starting quarterbacks in the NFL. They may be lower-tier starting quarterbacks, but they're starting quarterbacks. At worst, they're top-notch backups. P.J. Walker is lucky to be in the NFL.
I think that the problem with this whole thing is that it's the Deshaun Watson part. We don't. If they come out today and say he's going on IR for the next 4 weeks,
make a move. You're on
then
the
you
phone
need to make
immediately.
a move.
Yes.
But
yes.
if he's coming back next week,
but how could they know he's coming back next week, Davis?
You
they
don't.
And that's
no way to know.
That's what throws the wrench in this whole
So
thing.
that's the
exactly.
whole problem.
Why wouldn't you get if it doesn't take an arm and a leg to get a quarterback? I get it. You don't want to give up a first-round pick or something like that for some mediocre quarterback. But if you can, at a reasonable price, get a guy who you know can hold down the fort for whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks. By the way, somebody tweeted this morning. I can't remember who it is, but I saw by this week with whoever starts for Minnesota and maybe the Rams have a backup going this week.
49 new starting quarterbacks this season.
49. We're not even at the halfway point of the season. So even if Deshaun Watson does come back, this shoulder is not going to be right the whole year. So you need to have a better option. What if they get to the playoffs and Deshaun Watson, it's a close game, and he gets hurt in that game? Well, wouldn't you rather have Jacoby Brissett or Andy Dalton or even Jameis Winston rather than this guy? I mean, come on.
So
there's no doubt about it.
When you asked the initial question, how would I feel about Minnesota making a move versus Cleveland? Well, I wouldn't feel bad if Minnesota made a move just because their quarterback situation.
Fair. I don't care about Minnesota.
In this particular, this lane, do the Browns need an upgrade at quarterback too? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're frankly, with Brissett, they don't have a fourth-round pick this year, which throws a little bit of a wrench because a third-round pick for a couple of games may be too high of a price for Andrew Berry to pay. But is a fifth-round pick not enough with Washington's knowing?
Sacked.
Well, he only took one sack last week. He played phenomenal last week.
But what's the difference? Listen, if the Vikings are able to get Jameis Winston for less than a fourth-round pick, let's say they get Jameis Winston for a fifth or sixth round pick, then there's no excuse because the only argument.
I agree.
The only argument right now is
the
what's
price.
the price.
Exactly, and that's where I guess I kind of get stuck on this, where you're already a little depleted in draft capital because of the Deshaun Watson trade. You have a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a fifth-round pick. That fourth-round pick's gone.
Yeah.
A fourth-round pick feels like the appropriate asking price for a serviceable quarterback.
Give him a fifth-round pick this year and a fourth-round pick next year.
If that's the case, I'm fine with it. I just think a third-round pick for what may be 1 or 2 games is a price too high to pay.
Yeah.
Which feels like nitpicking because I think this roster is a damn good roster. And with a little better quarterback play, this team can compete with anybody in the AFC.
I don't think the Browns would have to give up a third-round pick to get Jameis Winston or any of those guys. I don't believe that. Now, Dalton may be the one most available, too. We talked about him the least, but Carolina's awful.
Yeah.
But
he's not a plug-and-play guy, which then takes into
why not? He's been in the league for 15 years.
Because they're not. Because Mary Kay said yesterday that the Browns are not going to change what they want to do. They want to get guys that are like Deshaun Watson, so they don't have to change their entire.
Well, Jacoby Brissett's not like Deshaun Watson,
and that's why they haven't traded for him.
Well, that's stupid. I'm sorry, I missed that article.
That's probably why they're not.
I didn't.
Oh, it wasn't an article. She said it on last week on the show.
That was why they moved on. That's
remember I made the joke. I was like, they're not going to get Andy Dalton because he's not black and mobile.
That's right. But that's stupid. And
it is stupid, yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski, he's a good coach. He can adjust on the fly.
Well, he better be able to. He better
that's
be able
been the whole thing that people hated about him. That whole last season, everybody said he don't do well adjusting on the fly.
I don't know.
The bottom line is, no matter how you slice and dice it. Do we have Mike Florio?
No,
I saw you touch here. Bottom line is P.J. Walker, by any metric you want to look at, has not been the reason the Browns have been in games, as you alluded to.
No.
He has 3 turnovers against Seattle, 2 turnovers against Indy, and against San Francisco.
That's his worst. If he stopped doing that, I think they.
But he has 0 touchdown or no.
He has 1.
One touchdown.
Shout out to David Njoku.
But look at his career. It's not what he's doing here is not an anomaly to what he'd done previously. For his career, he has 6 touchdown passes and 18 turnovers.
6 touchdowns total.
Yes.
He don't have any rushing touchdowns. In his career.
6 touchdowns.
He has
18
6 touchdowns and 18 turnovers.
So it's not like, and perfect example, that is a 1-to-3 touchdown to turnover ratio.
Yeah.
He had 1 touchdown against Seattle, 3 turnovers. That was the epitome of what he's done throughout his entire career. Now, he's 6-4 as a starter. So quarterback wins do not necessarily equal he's playing well. You have to separate those two completely. And if someone wants to tell me this Browns team can compete with the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the best teams in the AFC this season, with P.J. Walker quarterback,
Can't
I'm
happen.
going to tell you you're damn crazy
No.
and go get checked. However, this
tell you
team
that.
with a better quarterback can compete with all of those teams without a doubt.
That's right.
Well, they tell you they beat the 49ers with P.J. Walker.
Not because of P.J. Walker. He was 0 for
Well,
5 on
they-
a game-winning
but
drive.
I'm just telling you what
he was
they're gonna
0 for
tell
5
you.
on a game-winning drive.
They're going to tell you.
The point is, once you get to the playoffs, you got to, I mean, listen, honestly, I don't think they can win in the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe they could win one game.
But you
with
can make
Jacoby
the
in
playoffs.
But you can make it. Maybe you could win one game depending on who you play in the first round. Come on, Tyvis. I know my costume is distracting, but you got to keep it together.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm distracting myself here.
I can't wait till Mike Florio come on and Mary. Are you waiting for Mary Kay? You waiting the whole show?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Eventually, the wig may get annoying enough that I may throw it off. But for now,
Well, real quick, Earl just sent us a text. According to J.P. Finley of NBC Sports, who does a really good job covering the Washington football team,
yeah.
the Commanders now.
Yeah.
He just reported the Browns are, quote, chasing quarterback Jacoby Brissett from the Commanders as the deadline nears.
All right, well, they should have done it 3 weeks ago. Mike Florio's with us. I hope Mike's got a Halloween costume on, too. Mike, no Halloween costume? Come on, Mike.
I didn't know costumes were required. I'm sorry.
Oh, I forgot to put my shield back on.
Man, this is not what you were expecting, Mike. You're probably a little thrown off. By the way, Miles Simmons, who works for you, does he still work for you, Miles? I can't even remember.
Miles still works with us. He's somehow not stormed out in protest of having to deal with someone like me
That's true.
on a regular basis.
That
But
is
yes,
a little surprising.
he's been great. He's a Browns fan, and glad to have him.
He was my intern. That was his first gig in professional radio, actually, was as my intern. He was my favorite intern that I ever had. I loved the kid.
Wow.
He's a great kid. He's not a kid anymore, but he was a kid when he was an intern for me, and he's the best. Anyway, thank you, Mike, for joining us. Hopefully you won't be too distracted by my ridiculous Joe Dirt hair. Let's get to the Browns. There was just a report, we just mentioned it, that the Browns are now chasing Jacoby Brissett. Their quarterback situation's a disaster. Watson's been awful. Now he's injured. We don't know when he's going to be back. P.J. Walker, in my opinion, is not an NFL quarterback. The Browns got a decent team. We think they need an upgrade. What do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to do anything here before 4 o'clock?
Really is a strange situation going all the way back to the trade of Joshua Dobbs to the Cardinals before the start of the season and trusting Dorian Thompson-Robinson initially as the guy who would be the backup and then realizing he wasn't ready, pivoting to P.J. Walker. It would make sense if Washington would do it, but they need a backup. Jake Fromm isn't ready to be the backup to Sam Howell, and Sam Howell has been taking sacks at a record rate. So that's the problem with a team looking to improve its backup quarterback. You need to find a team that has two and that is willing to give up one of them. If you just have one that is clearly game ready and you're hoping to actually win some football games, it makes no sense to trade him. Now, if the Commanders are willing to sell off any assets because we just want to stockpile picks for next year because we know that we're not going to be a contender this year, so be it. The problem is you've got a coaching staff that's trying to win, a front office that maybe is trying to impress new ownership by whatever they're able to get in trade, and new ownership that I believe is just waiting until the season ends to press the reset button and fire everybody. So organizationally, it's a weird dynamic, whether it's Brissett, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, any of the names that might be available. You got to get everybody on the same page about whether or not we're going to move on from players. And if you move on from Brissett, who is your backup quarterback going to be? That's a critical question for the Commanders to answer before they would do anything.
Mike, when you look around the NFL, there's not as many trades at the NFL deadline as there is in the NBA and MLB deadline. Is that just because general managers are less willing, to part way with picks in opposed to other sports, or is it just kind of the fundamental roster building philosophy that trades aren't the way to a Super Bowl like they could be in the NBA or NFL?
I think there's a couple of reasons for it. And last night on the broadcast of the Raiders-Lions game, they said there were 11 deadline day deals last year, and I can't remember that there were that many last year, but I have no reason to doubt it. It seems like a lot. And the problem is the deadline's too early. It should be moved later into the regular season. They added a week to the regular season in 2021. They haven't added a week to the trade deadline. It's too early for the teams that are done to recognize that they're done. And maybe they're not. There's only a few teams you can look at right now and say, they're done.
Right.
Anyone with 3 or more wins still has a chance to get into this thing. And then there's the reality that if you go out and trade for a guy now, especially offensive, I think it's easier to plug a defensive player into the mix and get something out of him as the season unfolds. Offensively, if this is a guy who doesn't know your system, if this is a guy who doesn't know your personnel, doesn't know your coaching staff, how do you really get the best that you can out of that guy? It's something that you're thinking about for the playoffs, presuming you get there. So you better be certain you're getting to the playoffs if you're going to make that move, because it may not help you get there. And if you're a team hovering around 500, what's the point if we're not going to get the best out of this offensive player until we get there? So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. And then at the end of the day, you got to get the two teams to agree on compensation. And sometimes you got teams taking a hard line and the clock ticks, and before you know it, it's too late.
Mike, when you look at the NFL as a whole, there's some big names out there that's potentially can be traded. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Marquise Brown, Saquon. Do you anticipate any of those big name guys, maybe even Devontae Adams? Do you picture any of those guys getting moved today?
It's funny. Every year there's a handful of big name guys, and it's usually someone else that we're not thinking about. I'm keeping an eye on Josh Uche, the pass rusher from the Patriots, because he's in the last year of his contract, and the Patriots typically don't pay market value to pass rushers. They don't value pass rushers the same way other teams do. So it's usually the guys that everyone isn't talking about that end up getting traded. Just like yesterday, Leonard Williams, boom. Although his name was starting to surface over the weekend, he lands in Seattle. So, again, it takes a lot. And if I'm Devontae Adams, who said last week in an interview with Rich Eisen, he's happy with the Raiders. I don't know how happy I am after last night, but can you make it all happen by 4 o'clock Eastern? It's a lot of moving parts. The Raiders flew back to Las Vegas from Detroit. They're 3 hours behind. It's just a lot that has to happen before you have to get the deal done. And as the Browns learned a few years ago, remember the A.J. McCarron misadventures?
Oh, yeah.
When they were trying to do a deal with the Bengals communicated the trade to the league office. The Browns didn't. Both keys have to turn. And you got to get it done by 4 o'clock Eastern, or it's not happening.
Mike, two teams that I think are interesting. One is Denver, because there's been a lot of rumors about all their guys. But then they just had that big win over Kansas City. And as you said, they, like many other teams in the AFC, have now 3 wins. And then also in the AFC, there was talk about the Titans trading guys. But Will Levis played so well this week, you wonder if they're going to want to break it up and instead of giving him a chance to play with all his potential weapons. Do you think those teams stand pat?
I think the Broncos are being coy. You want to create the impression you don't want to trade your guys in order to get the best possible offer for them. The best leverage for any trade conversation is, I'm just going to keep the guy. That's the best, because then you got to offer something to get the team to say, all right, I won't keep him. Sean Payton has been playing it that way, I think, to get the best possible offers. Now, whether or not he pulls the trigger on it remains to be seen. With the Titans, they found something with Will Levis. They're in a division where, hey, it's not going to be easy to catch the Jaguars, but if they can get something going offensively and you can feel good about maybe trying to get the 7 seed in the AFC. I had heard that Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Titans, was very irritated by this idea that they're just kind of giving up. The trade last week of safety Kevin Byard as the best example of that. So there's been talk about Derrick Henry. That looks like it's not happening. There was talk about DeAndre Hopkins. That looks like it's not happening. With Will Levis in place now, give it a shot, see where it goes. Maybe you can piece enough wins together. If any coach can turn that roster into something positive, it's Vrabel. So with the Broncos, I think they're just sitting and waiting and trying to get the most they can for some of these guys. For the Titans, I really do think that there's a belief, especially from Vrabel, that they can maybe salvage this season and compete for a playoff spot.
Mike, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it. Last week you wrote an article on your website, Pro Football Talk. Go check it out. It was titled, and I quote, "Strange vibe continues between Browns and Deshaun Watson." That was 5 days ago. Fast forward to today. Do you still get the sense that there's some sort of strange vibe going on between the franchise and their star quarterback?
Well, I think there is. I really do. And it really is a bizarre situation going all the way back to the way the trade happened. 4 teams were finalists for Deshaun Watson. The Browns were the first team told, you're out. They put together that $46 million per year, 5-year fully guaranteed contract to get back in, knowing that there was going to be a significant suspension in 2022. There's a belief that some owners wanted it to be less than a year so the Browns would burn off the first of the 5 years that they have with Deshaun Watson. Here we are into year 2. What kind of return are they getting for the money? And 3 first-round draft picks plus. So far, it's been a disaster. It may turn around. And just as it looked like it was turning around, week 3 against the Titans, with his best game yet, 6 days after a very bad performance against the Steelers on a Monday night, that's when the shoulder injury pops up. And, the 2 words that I think have contributed to the sense that something odd is happening are medically cleared. Once Kevin Stefanski said that the day after the Ravens game, when Deshaun Watson said he's playing, Friday at his locker, he said he's playing. Sunday, he didn't play. Monday, Stefanski says he was medically cleared. I think, to me, that's the best evidence that there's something going on there. And no one has come out and said clearly and unequivocally that everything's fine. Deshaun answered the question last week when asked, does he want to play for the Browns? Well, why wouldn't I want to? Well, Deshaun, 3 years ago you were playing for the Texans and you decided you didn't want to anymore, just months after getting a massive contract from them. So we've seen that you can fall out of love with your current team, and you're not going to come out and say it publicly. He never said publicly he doesn't want to play for the Texans again, but we knew it. So there is something there. There's something. And no one, the Browns or Watson, have come together, and maybe they just need to lock arms and tell the world everything's fine. And I still don't know at this point we're going to believe it. It's just there. Until he's back and playing well, there's going to be a sense that something is up, and we don't quite know how it's going to play out.
All right, Mike, well, let me put you on the spot. After giving what everything you just said, do the Browns make the playoffs this season?
They have the potential to do it. They really do. Look, these games are too close. Wins become losses, losses become wins. If they could just stabilize the offense, and I was a big proponent of going out and trading for Derrick Henry. Forget about getting a quarterback. Get Derrick Henry in Cleveland, the guy who is the modern-day Jim Brown. Wouldn't he be perfect to kickstart that offense without Nick Chubb? It's amazing they've done as well as they have without Chubb, without Deshaun Watson. That defense is stellar. They just need to put the wins together. They're in the toughest division in all of football. The Ravens are looking great. The Bengals are waking up. The Steelers will hang around long enough in any given game to beat you. It's going to be tough for the Browns to get to the playoffs. But they are constructed to be dangerous if they get there. There's a lot of work they need to do to get there. We'll see how the next 9 games go.
Mike, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for joining us.
All right,
Mike.
good talking to you guys.
All right,
Happy
this is Mike
Halloween.
Florio. Happy Halloween. Pro Football Talk, of course, and says this. There are weird vibes here.
Yeah.
Does that mean Deshaun Watson doesn't want to be here? I have no idea. I don't think it means that now. It's not impossible. He's not unfair. It's not crazy to think Deshaun Watson might not want to be here. I don't think that, but it's not insane to think it. But in the end, what choice does he have? I mean, at this point, nobody else would want him.
I mean, yeah, the only choice that he has is that the coaching staff probably be gone and he'll have a new coaching staff.
Yeah, right,
but
right.
I don't see why you would want to play like that.
I don't buy it.
That's the thing. Like as a former athlete, like
Yeah.
there is no way that I'm going out there and I'm just about to just
I
sell
don't
us.
buy it.
I'm not selling the team.
I mean, the Browns have been listen, the way they've handled the injury situation has not been great.
Yeah.
But, the organization has gotten behind him from the moment they traded for him.
Yeah.
When nobody else has. So it'd be pretty silly of him. I don't buy that he doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's crazy for somebody to think that because it has happened in the past.
And it was interesting to hear his perspective. We're in it,
Yeah.
in the minutia, in the detail, in the dirt
Yeah.
every day to see kind of an outside perspective, whether you like Florio or not. That's up to you. But
Yeah.
to see someone from the outside kind of looking in and how they perceive what's happening here in Cleveland between Deshaun and the franchise is interesting to hear. So, Ant, what's up?
Yeah, guys, before we move on to our lovely Kool-Aid meter segment, I have to remind everybody that you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So you guys can visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
All right, guys, it's time for the Kool-Aid meter, so let's get right to it, Anthony. We all were given players that the Browns might acquire here in the next 4.5 hours, and we gave our Kool-Aid meter rankings. If we're very excited about somebody, it's going to be a 10. If we're not at all excited about the person the Browns might acquire, we graded a 1. Myself, Mike, G.
Well, I'm going to be
You're representing G.
Bush.
We thought G would be back today. He gave his grades, but he was unable to go. He was a last-minute scratch again today.
Yeah. So I have G's answers. I will answer as if I was G. Bush.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
I would love to see that. You gonna do an impression?
Where's the Kool-Aid? Where's the Kool-Aid cup? Where does he keep the Kool-Aid packets?
What's that? I'm going first,
You're
and then
going
Ty. Okay,
first.
so me,
That's probably
then
off the
G,
I would
AKA
throw
Mike,
some Kool-Aid packets.
and then Titus. Correct?
Yeah.
Kool-Aid stuff's in the back is what Steve tells me.
All right. Well, then we'll skip the Kool-Aid. I'll just throw some proverbial Kool-Aid
Okay,
around.
don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Let's go. Go. Let's start us off there, Anthony.
Yeah, so the first one up here, Bull, this is on Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
You gave me a 10 out of 10 to make
Yeah, last week I was very low with my grades because I was basing it on how exciting the player is scale, and everybody else was much higher because it's Kool-Aid. It's crazy. So my green Kool-Aid rating for Jacoby Brissett is a 10. The Browns' most important addition, certainly they could use a running back. If they got Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley today, I think we'd all be excited about that. But the most important thing is a stable NFL quarterback. I'm not asking for greatness. I'm not asking for very good. I'm just asking for stability, solidness, pretty decent. And that's Jacoby Brissett. He knows the system better than anybody else they could acquire. I think Florio made a good point. Does Washington want to leave themselves without a backup quarterback and be in the same situation as the Browns? I guess it depends how they're looking at their season. Maybe that's the tricky part. We did get a report a little while ago from, who was it again?
J.P. Finley.
J.P. Finley.
Who is a very credible
Guy saying the Browns are chasing Jacoby. Why have they waited this long, guys? I gave him a 10 because I think it would be exciting in the grand scheme of a trade deadline to get Jacoby Brissett, who we know can play adequate football.
Well, I think it's why have they waited so long? Because technically he doesn't fit the Deshaun Watson play style. So maybe they thought, let's give P.J. Walker a couple more games out there and see what we got. Because there is something to grow off of. Like I say, going down 14-0, coming back, that is something to grow off of. But at the end of the day, the biggest difference between those two is that Jacoby Brissett is known for taking care of the football.
Yeah.
He and P.J. Walker is known for turning it over. And I think that right now is the biggest difference because I think the Browns lead the NFL in the turnover margins right now.
I think the second.
They're second worst.
Behind the
Excuse
Raiders.
me.
And I wonder.
That's still awful.
It's still not good.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if and I'm sure this is tied into it, and I don't know exactly the right way to phrase it, but the uncertainty with Deshaun's right shoulder has to play a massive role in Andrew Berry not wanting to pull the trigger too early.
No, that's stupid.
I'm not saying
inexcusable.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that has to be the reason.
Why even if Deshaun honestly at this point, if Deshaun Watson were 100% healthy, I'd still want Jacoby Brissett.
Well, let me ask you this. What is do anybody know Jacoby Brissett's contract?
It's not much. You only have to pay him about $1.5 million.
About $1.5 million, yeah.
That's chump
The
change.
rest of the year. Remember, you don't pay him for the whole season. You're paying him for about half a year.
Well, everybody, I know Florio's saying that, that they don't want to get rid of him, but everybody got a price. That you never come out and say, we're looking to move on for this guy, because if you say that, then we can just throw you anything.
And that's what comes back to, I told you guys a little bit of the insight on the James Harden trade earlier.
Yeah.
When you have no leverage, you got to take what you can get. And I'm afraid that Washington knows the Browns are desperate.
That's the thing.
Everybody knows the Browns are desperate.
And if they know they're desperate, and they don't necessarily want to give up Jacoby Brissett,
we want that third.
We want that third or nothing. And I'm just
I
have a hard time giving up a third.
I don't think they'll give up a third. I think it's a lot to give up. In the end, I don't care. If they have to do it, then do it. I know people are going to say that's crazy. I don't. Maybe you get a fifth rounder back. Maybe it's Jacoby and a fifth.
And maybe that equals the fourth then somehow.
Yeah. So I could look at what the Browns have done. The last three offensive players they drafted in the third round were Anthony Schwartz, David Bell, and Cedric. I can't get on the field Tillman. So. What can I tell you?
They also took Martin Emerson in the third.
The fact that he's a healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row, that's ridiculous.
So is Ika. Now,
He's been a scratch all year.
Yeah, but the Ika one makes perfect sense if you actually look at the numbers, because Mo Hurts has been playing out of this world. Jordan Elliott's been playing well, so he's just, he only dressed 48 on game day. 46 on
Yes.
game day. So
46,
he's just a
48.
numbers casualty. The defensive tackles have played very well, so
Yeah.
I'm not worried
And
about
they've
Ika
been
at
healthy.
all.
They haven't lost to anybody
But
there.
the receivers and Tillman, the fact that he can't
There's no excuse.
sniff the rotation right now,
No excuse.
woo-wee.
It's
No,
a lot.
we
Who
got an
is-
issue.
All right,
So,
what's next?
Who
Go
is?
ahead.
Hold on, before we
Yeah.
move on, it's Marquise, Amari, DPJ, Elijah, and who's the
David
last?
Bell.
David Bell.
David Bell's the healthy guy. Wow.
Well, DPJ's technically healthy. He got no targets last week.
But then, if that's the case, Cedric Tillman has no special teams values. All right, what's next?
All right.
All right, so up next, this was supposed to be G's, but it's Dalvin Cook.
Oh, we're going 1-1-1, 1-1-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mike, you're technically up next covering
Dalvin
for G.
Cook.
Dalvin Cook, this
Dalvin
was a
Cook?
G special. I gave him Hunter Renfrow at first. He said, nah, I don't want Hunter Renfrow. Give me Dalvin Cook. So I said, all right, G, what's your cooling meter for Dalvin Cook? He said a 4. I'm like, you going to budget for Dalvin Cook and give me a 4? Well, here's the reason you want Dalvin Cook. Assuming Jerome Ford is going to take a little while to heal, to back to full strength. He played last week, and give him kudos. That man's tough as you-know-what for coming back after a low-grade high ankle sprain and playing just 7 days later. That means you don't fully trust Kareem Hunt to stay healthy. He has a little bit of thigh injury, just scored a touchdown. He played well against Seattle, but you're looking long-term here. And we just don't know exactly what you have in Pierre Strong yet. He looked very good, I thought, in some limited action against Seattle. He's looked very good all season. But if you want Dalvin Cook, you just want another veteran in that locker room, in that running back position, in that position group. I'm going to go back to Luke Michaels, country singer here. Browns don't need Dalvin Cook, but G. Bush said he wanted Dalvin Cook in there, so I gave him Dalvin Cook. I don't think it's an upgrade. I'm not quite sure he's better than any of the 3 running backs at this stage of his career, despite
he
the
was
fact
still really good
he
last
was good
year.
last
It's
year, but
weird,
if you
but-
watch the Jets this season, he has 0 burst.
It's something.
He has 0 burst.
So the thing is, I seen this report come up about him like maybe last week, and I was explaining to a buddy of mine. He was like, "Yeah, man, if we get Dalvin Cook, we'll be back." And I'm just like, "It's a reason that the Jets, if he's good, he would be getting a ton of carries with the Jets, like
Because they got Zach Wilson. Like, they need
exactly.
And Breece Hall's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Breece
but
Hall's
like,
elite.
he can't. You telling me he can't get like 12 carries a game?
Yeah.
Like, he came out publicly talking about, I want more. I need
Yeah.
more carries,
He's
and
averaging
they're
2.
not giving it to him. So it has to be a reason why that they're not giving him these carries.
For me, with running back for the Browns, I'm only trading for a running back if I'm the Browns, if I'm getting an every down back. I would trade for Barkley,
Or
and I would
Henry.
trade for Derrick
That's it,
Henry.
yeah.
I got a bunch of part-time backs who are all decent. I like the combo. I really want to see a 1-2 punch of Kareem Hunt and Pierre Strong, and I would phase Ford out as the third guy, personally. Because love's way too strong. I like what I've seen from Pierre Strong.
looked
and I
good.
wanna
have
see
to.
more.
He's
I've
looked
been
good.
banging
And
the
Kareem
table
Hunt
for it.
is a good grinding, short yardage back at this point in his career. But no, I'm not trading for another part-time back. I don't need that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we can pass.
All right, Tyvis.
All right, Ty, you
first
are
one.
up next.
Who did I have? Oh, I know who I got.
Who did you have? Oh, you had Chase Young.
I think I gave it a 6, I think.
You did.
Wow,
did.
surprised only a 6.
Yeah, I know. I tried to leave my Buckeye biases out of it. The reason being, I think that they could make that trade and he could come here. He can re-energize his career. Problem is, you'll have to pay him after the season's over with, and that's the problem for me. And
Yeah, but you wouldn't give up a lot to get him. You wouldn't have to sign him if you're the Browns. You could just have him for the rest of the year and then let
what
him
you
walk.
think they let him go for?
Not much. He's a free agent at the end of the
Yeah.
year.
They didn't
And he
think it was
hasn't been
optional.
I
healthy
feel
or
like
good.
listen. The thing is, I think he
real quick, because this is Washington. Who demands a higher return in a trade? Chase Young or Brissett?
That's funny.
Serious though.
If they're negotiating with the Browns,
Yeah, who gets it higher? Do you give a third round?
Brissett probably because
Yeah,
they know
because
they're
he's a
desperate.
quarterback,
Yeah.
Would you ever have said that when he was coming out of college a few years ago? That somehow Jacoby
No,
Brissett was going
no, I wouldn't.
have
It's
a bigger
shame.
return on investment?
But yeah, Chase hasn't been what he was his rookie year. I mean, he had a bunch of injuries, and I think if he came to Cleveland, I think they would getting under Jim Schwartz. I think he absolutely can get back to that because he got. And don't get me wrong, I love the Commanders' D line, but I think that they're kind of limited to what they do. Where Jim Schwartz is kind of like. This is just
Right.
get there. I just need you to
And
get there.
the
And I think he'd be more free.
Right.
He'll play
There'd
free.
be no focus on him either.
Right. And on top
Yeah.
of that, you got guys that's rotating in that's really, really good.
Right.
So if you're rotating in for Miles after Miles that went like 3 plays with this tackle, he's worn down. Now I can hit him with my best
Right.
move and I'll be effective. So I think it will work out. I just don't – the re-sign part at the end is the reason why I couldn't give it all away.
Do you think edge is a pressing need for the Browns right now.
It's not a need at
No.
all.
And I asked
Yeah,
that
no.
because this weekend, and once again, Twitter is just a small gauge of the fan
Yeah.
base. And look, I saw people, and I personally disagree, and you're entitled to your opinion, cool, but like, people said edge was the number one need for the Browns in
All
the
right,
deadline, and
That's ridiculous.
I couldn't.
That's
It's not a
ridiculous.
need.
That's
Forget the number one need.
ridiculous.
It's not a need, period. Now,
You can always have.
you could say, well, our strength is our defense. Let's make our strength even stronger. And I could see that argument. But to say the Browns need a pass rusher
So what
is
was
ridiculous.
what was y'all giving on the Kool-Aid meter?
I actually really,
I said 6.
I think that's fair because
it's in the
I
right
can't
range,
give it
yeah.
a 10 because they don't really need him. And he's
Yeah,
gonna
and
disappoint.
that's my problem. Like, they don't need it. Would it
Yeah.
be nice?
It'd be nice to
Absolutely.
have him,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But like,
well, if you look
am I selling out for it? No.
No.
Well, it's funny if you look at edge, and this is maybe a bigger topic than today, but we expected this Browns team to be having sacks left and right, and kudos
Right.
to you for saying, hey, everyone else in this panel except you predicted like 40, 50 plus sacks from this unit, and through 7 games, Za'Darius has 1. Now he's played well. This is not a sack.
Yeah,
is not
Za'Darius and Obo
Yeah, yeah.
played well, but they're not on pace.
those two
Yeah.
together have 3.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Those two together are on pace for 8.5 sacks this season.
Right. I mean,
Myles Garrett has
nobody's
8.5.
making an impact in sacks besides
And
Myles
that's
Garrett.
not the only. That's not the only stat. that
they're
matters. I'm
playing
making a
well.
very
No,
good
I'm about
point.
to say they provide
Yeah.
a ton of pressure.
They're
But it
playing
is-
well.
But I think sometimes, and I don't know.
But I didn't think they would get a
The
ton of
need.
sacks, either of them, and they're not.
And you were the one that was right because I was wrong. G was wrong. Jay was wrong. Tyvus, I don't exactly remember.
I don't
you said
remember
on the sack
I don't know what I
projection.
said either.
But maybe that's the reason people think edge is more of a pressing need than
I
it is
think that's
because
why.
the sack numbers
not
themselves
high.
But I
aren't
just,
as high.
to be honest with you, I think in all of football, I don't think outside of Hunter from Minnesota,
He has 10 sacks.
Yeah, outside of him, I think it's very harder to get sacks nowadays. Like I think
Got teams and quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball
yeah,
quickly.
like
yeah.
you think about, remember the stat, these quarterbacks getting rid of the ball in 3
2.5
seconds?
seconds,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like, how am I ever going to get
Well,
there? I think
yeah.
the most important stat now is pressure
rate.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Za'Darius
think about this,
and Agbo are
Tyvus.
both ranked very high in that.
Right, teams in recent years have been throwing the ball deep. There's been a lot of downfield stuff. In the starting really with last year, teams have been taking away the deep stuff.
Yeah.
They've been wanting teams to march down the field more. And what comes with that is quicker passes, and what comes with that is less sacks.
Yeah.
It's the Patrick Mahomes effect.
Yeah.
They went to that cover, was it the too high safety
yeah.
look, cover
Yep.
2, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, force Mahomes to check down, beat you, and now that's the
Now
most common practice
Right.
defense across
And now the
NFL.
way to beat the defense is just get it out quickly
Chuck-
and let the skill position guys do their stuff.
And that's why you see running backs, and I'll use Alvin Kamara as an example, but
Yeah.
he missed the first 3 games, so he's not top of the league. He averages more catches per game than any other player in the league because
Right.
Derek Carr's like,
Right.
you're playing
he-
7 yards off the line.
check
of scrimmage.
down charge.
Check
Look
down.
at the Chargers on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Eckler had a ton
Yeah.
of catches, and we've been seeing that. All right, back to me now, right?
No, so we're going back to Mike /G here. Yeah, I didn't make the rundown today.
All right.
We got Jerry
Whoa,
Jeudy, Mike.
Jeez.
We do have Jerry Jeudy, and this one's very interesting. This one, to me, was probably the most intriguing non-quarterback option on the board here for the Browns. And I'm going to channel my inner G. Bush here, and I'm going to this is my G. Bush. I can't do an impression. I apologize. Oh, we have a trade real quick. Hold on. A trade. The Bears and Commanders have traded Montez Sweat for a 2024 second-round pick.
The Bears and Commanders?
The Bears have traded for Montez Sweat.
Okay.
Washington sends Montez Sweat to Chicago for a second-round pick. So Sweat goes for a second-round pick.
Then you know what.
So Washington could be in sell mode, which means more and more chance that Brissett maybe could be had for a little less. Back to Jerry Jeudy, though, and I'm going to be G. Donovan Peoples-Jones, where you been at? Elijah Moore, Elijah Less. Amari Cooper, that's my dog. But we need another dog in here. It don't matter who's a quarterback. They don't have receivers. It ain't going to happen. It don't matter. So for Jerry Jeudy, it's an 8 out of 10 on the Kool-Aid meter. Bring in Jerry Jeudy. The dude's a first-round pick. He's immensely talented. He's played with other good receivers before. He's got that Alabama connection with Amari Cooper already. Yeah, is he a little bit of a hothead? Sure. Is he the most consistent receiver?
Might be what you
no.
need.
But exactly my point. Are we getting consistency from numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on this wide receiver depth chart? No. So he's not doing anything to change that. And secondly, let's have someone who can light a little fire under these guys' behinds. Let's get a little energy and pizzazz in this wide receiver room and see if that maybe can energize a group that, frankly, has disappointed this season. So Jerry Jeudy for me, G. Bush, Cowboy G. Bush. It's an 8 out of 10 on the Kool-Aid meter.
All right.
I think that might be the biggest thing with the offense. It's an attitude thing. Like defensively, I think the whole attitude changed, and that's why you get the results. As far as the offense goes, there's no dog over there.
No.
It's the
They're all
the only guy
guys.
that had like a little something to him was the quarterback, Deshaun, and now that he's not in there, it's like there's no dog, no attitude to that offense. Now Kareem Hunt would give you some, but he's not every down. So
Do you need you played? Do you need someone with that attitude in a locker room?
Yeah.
On each side of the ball, like, is that actually something that we as people that aren't there can say? Yeah, they need that.
None of the old linemen are dogs on the offense?
you tell me.
I don't know.
Do you think?
I think Wyatt Teller might be a dog.
Teller would be
You
my
think
guess.
they come off to you and they like trash talk and they like got that they about that life?
I could see Wyatt Teller being that way.
I can see Teller too, but he's probably. The
I
only
don't
one.
think there's many guys. I could see Elijah Moore talking trash, but he's not very
I don't
good.
think he does.
No?
I feel like
So you're
he's
saying they're a bunch of soft asses.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're.
But you think they?
I don't
need,
think they had that swag.
So you want that?
Yeah, who doesn't? What player or what coach wouldn't want a
But
guy with a little edge?
When Jamar Chase talks a lot of trash on
and
the
you
field.
see what he doing.
But he
backs
talked
it
trash
up.
before against the Browns, and then the Browns gave it back to him.
Defensively,
Yeah.
that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Defensively, yes, we are there. I said
Yeah.
offensively, I don't see it.
No, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying, do you need someone on each side of the
Yeah.
ball?
Yes.
Do you need a dog on each side of the ball?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I don't know
Well,
if the Browns
that's
have
an issue.
that.
The Browns don't have that offensively right
But
now.
does talk like Nick Chubb's a dog, but he don't talk trash. I don't think you have to talk trash to be a dog.
But you don't have Nick Chubb right now.
Well, no, but you were saying that talking trash means.
No, I'm not
making you a
saying
dog.
talking trash, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean. Just got that swag.
You got it.
You can't mess with me.
Yeah.
I'm really
feel
like that.
I feel like Wyatt Teller is that kind of player. But the fact that I have to struggle to find one guy on offense,
I don't know. I don't think it's a guy that's just
I don't
like,
think
you know
there's
what,
anybody
I'm
else.
like that. You can't stop me. Like I'm going.
Yeah.
I tell you my route, and you still not gonna stop me. I'm gonna tell you where the ball going, and I'm still gonna get there. Like I don't think they got that type.
Like
of guy.
I feel like I look think about the Bengals.
No disrespect.
I feel like
to
Joe Mixon's that kind of player, even though he's, good, not great. But I feel like he's that kind of player.
yeah.
So yeah.
But you just named two dudes on the offense, and you know Joe is like that. So the number one guy. is
Ravens
like
got Lamar.
that. Yeah.
He's like that.
They even got Odell, even though he's stealing money. That boy
Stealing
be
money. He's been stealing money for years,
He's
Odell.
stealing.
And still people think he's a great receiver. I
That
don't get
boy
it.
be stealing over there.
All right, but we're going to you next.
Yeah.
For our Kool-Aid meter, you have Carl Lawson.
Yeah, I was unexcited about Carl. I gave him a 0, didn't I? 1?
No, I think you gave him a 2.
I should have given him a 0. I don't know. I mean, Carl Lawson, I remember when he left the Bengals, at the time I thought it was a big deal, and I what an idiot I was. He's done nothing with the Jets. He's been a non-factor for the whole time he's been there. What am I going to be excited about Carl Lawson? Carl Lawson even going to play for the Browns? He'd be like their 8th defensive lineman.
I think it'd be the same situation as Chase Young. Situation.
Yeah, but Chase Young's better than Carl Lawson.
I agree. I'm just saying. I think that role.
But
is
I
where
think
he's
he'll be a
still-
backup edge that comes in and
I mean, he could be a healthy scratch on the Browns, Carl Lawson.
He could. I was
Carl Lawson's not him.
it's the look. It's the whole look. I don't have nothing to disagree with.
What else are we
anything
going to say
you
about Carl Lawson?
Yeah.
It's an unexciting guy. Mike forced him for me to pick a number for
did.
him. There you go.
You could have switched to somebody else. And
I
then given us
didn't know
even
we had
lower
that
number.
option.
I didn't either.
We could have done the G. Bush.
I talked to you yesterday before we left. Hey,
Yeah.
these are the guys I'm thinking. And you were
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
I
Whatever.
thought Mike did a good job of giving me my 2.
Why not Andy Dalton? Put Andy Dalton on there. I'd give Andy Dalton a 9.
Well, we did Andy Dalton already. So
We did.
Who is
Last
my
time we did,
last one?
your last one's another
your
Why
last
one.
one
did,
is
why did the
Marquise
Bears?
Brown.
Oh, you got one more real
He has
quick.
one
Why
more.
did the Bears trade for Montez Sweat?
They don't have no crash.
They have
rushers.
They suck, but what are they?
They have the most cap space in football. I just saw
Is he a free agent at the end
Yes,
of the year?
he is.
So I don't.
But they don't have a pass rusher. Period.
Schefter just tweeted.
But why, if you're the Bears and you're gonna why would you give up a 2nd round pick?
Here's
Because he's better than anybody you gonna
But they're
draft
not
in the
trying to.
second
Why
round.
would they're not trying to win? They're not any good.
But they just spent a ton of money last year too on defensive acquisitions, and they're projected to have $110 million in
But
cap
they could have
space.
signed him as a free agent in the offseason.
I'm with you.
I don't understand why you give up a 2nd round pick when you're not winning this year. And the Bears are stupid. That's why. The Bears are stupid. Last year they gave up a 2nd round pick for Chase Claypool.
Yep. Yeah.
And now they give up this guy's better than Chase Claypool, but he's not going to help them win.
Yeah.
Desperate.
Yeah.
You could have
You gotta-
signed him as a free agent if you wanted him
You
that
got to
bad.
do something to make your organizations think that we got.
The Bears are clueless. They're a terrible organization. And under the radar, one of the worst organizations in football.
We got one more Kool-Aid meter. Then I
Yeah,
got
go
a
ahead.
couple more names to throw at you guys.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we
Kool-Aid
got
meter.
Marquise Brown. Tyvis, you gave him a 7.
Ooh.
Yeah, I give him a 7. I think he is a piece on the wide receiver core because he brings that speed. He got that deep playmaking ability. I think that would be a nice thing because Elijah Moore hasn't been the vertical threat that I thought he would be this year. They're kind of using him in and out. And I don't even think the Browns push the ball down the field, do they?
P.J. Walker threw a couple 20-yard passes to Amari Cooper. But that's
really,
it.
Yeah,
that's
but
really
he's like the only one, even when Deshaun's there. Like, they don't really push the ball down the field. And to me, it sounds like it's the same thing that we was talking about last year. So I think Marquise Brown or Hollywood Brown is actually a vertical threat. He does have some catching things, but he still makes plays, and I think he can be a nice little spark in the wide receiver room. So I give it a 7.
I like Marquise Brown more than I like Jerry Jeudy.
I do too.
Right? Between those two guys, if I had to choose, I mean, they're in the same level of wide receiver. Marquise Brown, though, for the most part, like Jerry Jeudy's played on teams that throw the ball at least.
Yeah.
Like Marquise Brown's been stuck on run teams. He's never played like Lamar's throwing the ball more now, but like
They're a run-first team no matter how you slice and dice it.
And he's had 1,000-yard season. Jerry Jeudy has not had a 1,000-yard season. I like Marquise Brown better. I do think Marquise Brown and Jerry Jeudy are both better than any receiver on the Browns not named Amari Cooper, but I think Marquise is a little better.
I think
Marquise is a legit number 2.
I think Marquise fits stylistically
Yes.
with Amari Cooper better than Jeudy. Jeudy and Cooper are
They're
kind
about
of
the same.
similar,
Yeah, right,
similar type receivers. At least with Marquise, you get a little more of a vertical speed threat.
With Marquise, and if you had a better quarterback, or if you had Watson maybe late in the year, like they could really use him. He could be valuable, I think. But
couple other names we didn't make coordinators for, but I was going through this morning just to see if did I miss anybody. Couple of names I thought could be not even necessarily on the Browns' radar, but just trade deadline guys to watch. Mike Florio mentioned Josh Uche, the edge from New England, who's been hurt, but when he plays has been good. He's in the last year of his contract. I still don't think edge is a giant need for the Browns, but if they do look for the cheapest productive edge option, Josh Uche makes some sense.
Before you leave the Patriots, another guy could be
Brown.
interesting.
Trent Brown.
Trent Brown.
We don't really need a left tackle.
No,
Well,
I
crazy
still
about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we was banging the
I know,
table.
and
I
Jed
still
Wilson
would
played
trade
well,
for Trent
yeah.
Brown, but I'll give Wills credit. He has played better. But an interesting guy in the Patriots would be Ramondre Stevenson.
At running back?
They are not using him well this year. I don't
No.
know what they're doing
Well,
with
they're
him.
not running the ball at all well this year, period.
No, right.
He was phenomenal last year.
He
And
was
he's
great, and he's a good pass
catered.
catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah,
Who was
catered.
Who was his?
Did
It
you
was
say
him and
catered
who?
instead of cratered?
cratered.
Who was
Cratered
his-
this year.
It was him
production-wise.
and who last year? Ramondre and
It was Devin
Harris.
Singleton. No.
No, Damian Harris.
Damian Harris, right.
And now it's him and Zeke.
Uh,
I didn't think of that.
by the
That's a
way,
good name.
I would like to see the Bengals trade for one of the Patriots' tight ends, either Hunter Henry or Mike Gesicki, if anybody cares.
Who is they
The
tight
Bengals
end? now?
never trade draft picks.
Who is they
No.
tight
Ever.
end? The Bengals.
Irv Smith.
Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
He can't. He sucks.
Three more names just to keep an eye on
Yeah.
as possible guys. We mentioned Hunter Renfrow really quickly.
Yeah.
Don't think he moves the
does-
needle at all.
that-
He fell off. I don't know.
Here's a guy I actually like. I think it would make sense for the Browns, but KJ Osborne of Minnesota, who's been their number 2, 3 with
But if
Addison.
they're trading for Jameis, that means they're not giving up.
I'm just saying names that could potentially be out there. And then
that's a shit. It's,
Antonio
shaky one.
Gibson from Washington, their backup running back,
Again,
who's another good pass catcher. But once
I
again,
don't
I don't
want to
think
trade
he's
for a
an
running back
upgrade.
unless
Yeah.
it's an every down back. I look at Ramondre Stevenson as an every down back.
I agree. I'm just
Antonio
throwing out
Gibson's not
other
every-
names that I think in the big stratosphere of what could happen today.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy that could, in
I don't
theory,
know. Yeah.
get moved.
All right. Well, we're gonna have Mary Kay here in a little bit. None of those guys. Is there any other names?
Nothing's happened. Real quick, do you think, like, yes or no, if you had to put, let's say odds were even,
Yeah.
do the Browns make any move at the deadline today?
I'm gonna say yes. I think they're gonna shock us and make a move today.
I'm gonna say no.
Tyvis?
Nope.
And Earl, what do you think? Will the Browns make a move today, yes or no?
I don't think so because they still think Deshaun Watson has a short-term injury.
I think they'll make a move. I doubt it'll be a quarterback.
So who do you think? A receiver?
They're
Edge?
gonna
Running
trade.
back?
They're gonna trade for a quarterback today. I feel good about it.
I'd be really happy with Derrick Henry, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee's trading Derrick Henry.
I think if you're Tennessee, the way Will Levis played last week, you can't trade Derrick Henry.
If I'm the Browns, I'm trading everything for Devontae Adams.
The Raiders just said they would not trade him. Now, is that true?
That's what you gotta say.
So what's your dream scenario?
Because if I come in there and say I don't want to play for y'all no more, let me go.
Yeah.
You know what they're gonna do? What's your best offer? What you say you're going to give us for him?
Yeah.
Take him.
Right.
What's your dream deal today, then? We got 5 minutes for Mary Kay.
Devontae Adams.
So what's the package? What are you giving up in a perfect world? Like a realistic
what do we
scenario?
have to give up? That's the question.
A second,
I give
a
up
third,
a second.
a fifth.
I give up a second, third, fifth, and DPJ.
Well, I want Jimmy Garoppolo in the deal, even though he's awful right now. He's still better
played
than
terrible,
DJ Walker.
yeah.
He's been awful.
Devontae avoided. He trying to
true.
get away from him.
That's true.
Can you imagine go from Jimmy Garoppolo, then coming to PJ Walker and being like,
Well, he'll sit there and
mentally
say,
it's an upgrade?
he'll be on Deshaun. You coming back next week, right? You coming back?
They're not trading for
what's your
Adams.
dream deal?
I think the most important, it's hard to say Jacoby Brissett would be a dream deal.
But it could be. It really well could
That
be.
would be my dream deal because they need a quarterback, and I think he's the most likely guy to get. I can't watch PJ Walker play quarterback for this team anymore. It's uncomfortable.
And you want to get a read in real quick, and then I'll ask you a question that's going to
Please.
lead us right into Mary Kay.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, instead of doing a FanDuel readout right now, today is actually the first anniversary of us launching membership. So I wanted to bring that up. We're going to be talking about you guys and giving you guys shout-outs here at the end of the show. But I wanted to remind you guys that you can become a member for $5.99 if you do it on your desktop. It's $6.99 if you're doing it through iOS. Apple does take their cut. And then it's $1.99 for your starters tier, $2.99 if you're on Apple. Go get it, and then big announcement, huge announcement, especially if you're an avid Behind the Glass watcher. Earl and I officially have emojis today.
Oh, yeah.
So go in and check out the Earl and I emoji. We thank you guys for so much for like a year of memberships. It's fantastic. We wouldn't be here without everybody else.
They have made it. We
I gotta
officially got Ant.
I got to get in the
Earl
chat and see
emojis.
their
Yeah,
emojis.
they're flying.
Look at that.
Have you guys been watching the chat at all? Have you guys seen your own emojis?
I have not been keeping it up. I don't know about Earl.
Earl, have you seen the chat at all?
Yeah, I have. I've seen
What was it like seeing yourself as an emoji for the first time?
it was pretty dope when I was looking. I'm trying to do social clips and show clips at the same time.
That's a good employee. He's working on the same thing. All right, well, Mary Kay's going to come on. Mary Kay wrote an article this morning saying the Browns, if they can't get Brissett, try to bring Josh Dobbs back from Arizona and start him on Sunday.
Yeah, why would Arizona do that?
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know why they do that? Because they think he's
that
terrible.
trash.
Yeah. They'd probably be sitting there like, please do.
To me, if I'm going to trade for, I just don't think Josh Dobbs is any better than PJ Walker.
He's not.
I think that's. Jacoby Brissett is a clear level above, couple levels above PJ Walker. I guess if I had to choose, I guess Dobbs is better than PJ Walker. But I mean, you're talking about the two worst quarterbacks in the league.
Steve, give me 15B. Put up 15B, the advanced stats.
The reason that Brissett would make more sense or more impactful is not just from he's better than PJ Walker.
Leadership, the team loves him, right?
It's the fact that when he walked, if that team find out that Jacoby Brissett coming back, they gonna throw a party.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, my boy is coming back, man. We good. Like, I think that
the ultimate morale boost.
it'll bring the energy back, and I think they go out there and have a really good game. Now, as far as the game plan goes, I don't know how much you could throw at them in this first week, but
it's the Cardinals, so it's a perfect week to
exactly. But which is
worst
why I
week.
still think that the DTR thing is on the table because it's a perfect
I
week
agree
to find
with
out who you got.
If the Browns don't make a trade, I would start DTR this week. Now, again,
Oh, you on my side?
yes, the only thing I
all
would say,
agree. We all
I said
agree.
this yesterday, the only thing I would say is we don't see him in practice.
That's
if
true.
he's a disaster in practice,
Then no.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously he wasn't. He got to play last week, first of all. And
Yeah.
They trusted him enough to go against Baltimore.
That was sneaky. The whole Dobbs thing, I always appreciate Mary Kay's insight, but I just can't fathom a world where Arizona would trade Josh Dobbs
To the team they play.
back to the team they're going to play.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they are trying to lose. Like, they have right now, if the season were to end.
See, when people say that, they're wrong.
But
Here's the thing.
they're not trying
No
to tank.
team tries to lose. The organization doesn't care about winning.
Fair.
The coach and the
Fair.
players, as Tyvus can tell you,
I ain't going out there
never
to
going
lose.
to play to lose.
Fair.
That's
But
not happening.
My point is, if the season ended today, do
Yeah.
you know who would have the number one pick in the draft?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
They have no incentive from an organizational standpoint to win. So if they happen to give
and yet
Cleveland
they
a
traded
little
for
extra
Dobbs
advantage.
at the beginning of the season. gave up a draft pick when they knew they weren't going to be any good.
Well, maybe they knew something about Josh Dobbs.
Does that now that you know that Josh Dobbs wasn't that great?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel about that trade from Andrew Berry?
It was the right trade when it happened.
I didn't have a problem with it. People are.
So everybody making a big deal.
Yeah,
Well, Jay has been very critical of it, but nobody was critical of it at the time. Nobody cared.
We all applauded at the time because DTR outplayed Josh Dobbs in the preseason. You make that trade because you felt good enough about DTR.
My beef with Andrew Berry is not that he traded Josh Dobbs. It's that once Watson got hurt and they gave up on DTR after one game.
That's my beef, too.
Yeah.
Then you should have either gone back to DTR or gone and gotten another quarterback at that point.
I think that's my beef,
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, guys, before we bring in Mary Kay, I just want to remind you one more time that you can score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options. You can do spreads, player props, over-unders, and plenty more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and kick off the NFL season right. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Why did we not show the Earl and Anthony emojis?
I completely forgot to put them on a graphic this morning. That is a bad job out of me, guys. I'm so sorry about that.
I'm about to get in the chat.
But I just checked the chat, and I did see them. They look good. Y'all look good as emojis.
That's just the Bears is beyond stupid. Trading the 35th. Right now, it would be the 35th pick in the draft for a guy who's a free agent at the end of the year. They are the dumbest organization. All right, we have Mary Kay. Is she dressed up for Halloween? Mary Kay not dressed up.
I didn't get the memo. I absolutely would have dressed up.
What's up, Mary Kay?
That's Mike's fault.
If I would have known that you guys were dressing up, I didn't have time. Once I saw that you guys were dressed up, I was going to go see if I could run around and find something around the house here, but I didn't have time.
Well, it's not Mary Kay's fault. Mike, it's your fault for not telling Mary Kay that
is
Mary Kay, I am truly sorry, but we do appreciate you
Mary
taking
Kay
a few
would have played
minutes to join
along.
us here.
I mean, my gosh, that's terrible. Mary Kay, we were just talking about the Josh Dobbs thing. You wrote a column about it today. We were all saying we can't buy that the Cardinals would trade him. I don't think Josh Dobbs really is that much better. I'd rather have a better quarterback than P.J. Walker. But you think the Cardinals might actually trade him the week they're playing the Browns because they don't care?
Well, yeah, I mean, why would they care? They're 1-7. They're not going anywhere this year. And if they can recoup a draft pick, they don't need him anymore. They've got Clayton Tune. They've got Kyler Murray coming back, so they don't need Josh Dobbs anymore. I mean, I still think I qualified this in my column that, ideally in a perfect world, they'd probably still like to land Jacoby Brissett. But if they can't land Jacoby Brissett, and who knows, the stakes may have gone up higher for Jacoby Brissett because now there are some other teams in the NFL that might want him. I mean, he's a decent starting quarterback. He didn't have a good record last year, but that was because the defense and the special teams let him down in a huge way. So I do think that other teams might be interested, but the Browns should be trying to get Jacoby, and they probably are doing that. And, I don't know for sure. I'm just surmising. It just makes too much sense for them to do that. If they can't do it, then why not Dobbsy? I think he would be an upgrade over P.J. Walker and Dorian Thompson right now. Maybe not necessarily a long-term answer, but he would come cheap. You could get him for a bargain basement price. And, and again, Arizona doesn't need him anymore. They wouldn't care if he goes out and starts.
Mary Kay, if it's not...
What happened?
I think Tyvus coughed and then it dropped. Yeah, but it's okay.
What happened?
That wasn't me.
It was your turn to go, Mike.
Well, Tyvus coughed, so I wasn't sure if he was about to follow up.
No.
Mary Kay, if it's not a quarterback, if the Browns do not end up acquiring Jacoby Brissett or Josh Dobbs, do you think they'll make some sort of move, whether to address the wide receiver room, the running back room, the defensive end or defensive line? Will Andrew Berry end up today at 4:01 with some sort of news to announce to the fan base?
Well, I know he's trying, and he always tries at this time of year to either stockpile some draft picks or to bolster the roster. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always go the way that you hope it will. But I know he's out there trying, and he has been trying for weeks, really. I mean, you lay the groundwork for these trades by making phone calls in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline. You kind of start to get an idea of who's going to have a little bit of a fire sale. You get an idea of who's willing to deal, and he knows all that. He's really good at this time of year. He's very, very aggressive. He has done his due diligence. He's ready for this day. And I think that in a perfect world, they will have something to announce before 4 o'clock. Again, it doesn't always come through the way that you want it to, but it's certainly not for lack of trying.
Mary Kay, I think Pam Oliver reported it on the game day about Deshaun Watson potentially going on IR. Is that really, do you think what's the likely scenario that is where this shoulder has come to?
I haven't heard that that's a likely scenario at all. I've heard, nobody wants that to happen. Nobody wants him to have to miss 4 games. If he can demonstrate this week in exams and in strength that it's getting better, then they're not going to have to do that. But I don't think anybody can definitively say what will or won't happen with this situation. Nothing has gone according to script. The shoulder hasn't healed to this point as fast as they wanted it to. And, they're going to back at it this week and figure out, what's going on in there and how far along his strength may have come. So, it's probably pretty accurate that it hasn't been completely ruled out. But at this moment, it does not seem likely. Again, that could change. He has to undergo, constant testing. I mean, there was residual swelling in there as of last week. You're not going to put him out there, with swelling on the shoulder. So, I just think it's all still a work in progress.
Well, Mary Kay, do you know why they didn't initially put him on the 4 game once the shoulder first, after the Tennessee game?
Yeah, they never thought that it was going to take this long. They thought that it was sort of a minor injury and that he was going to be fine, to the point where he was telling everybody he was going to play against the Ravens on October 1st. Nobody expected this. It just didn't go the way anybody thought that it would. But, that's how injuries can be sometimes, especially a throwing shoulder injury. You just can't predict it all the time. And so I don't think, I don't think anybody was really trying to, to fool anybody. I don't think anybody was playing games. I just think this just didn't go the way anybody thought it would.
Mary Kay, do you think when it comes to acquiring a quarterback, is it Jacoby Brissett?
It's deadline day.
Popular.
It's deadline day. We understand.
Jacoby Brissett.
Sorry.
It's okay. Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs, or bust, or is there a chance they could surprise us and go after Jameis Winston or go after Andy Dalton or somebody we're not thinking about right now?
You know what? Sure. I mean, I'm sure they probably have a list. They probably have a short list. What we do know is that Kevin Stefanski is over the turnovers. I mean, he pulled no punches about that after the game and yesterday. He can't watch that happen anymore. You can't keep putting your defense behind the 8 ball. These guys, the 2 young guys, have combined for 8 interceptions over these 4 appearances and 1 lost fumble, and it's just it's too much. They lead the league with 17 giveaways. You're not going to win games like that. They got away with a couple of games. They were lucky enough to overcome turnovers in a couple of games, but that is not sustainable, and they found that out against the Seahawks. You just can't keep giving the ball away to the other team and think that you're going to win the football game. 80% of the time you lose when you lose the turnover battle. So they've been living on the edge. They've been living dangerously in that regard to this point. And they need to find somebody that can go in there and manage the game for them. And Jacoby can do that for sure. Manage the game for them very well and not throw the picks. If they can just get that and continue to get 58-yard Dustin Hopkins field goals and, everything that they're getting from their defense, then they can stay in the thick of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jacoby Brissett can't put you on his back and win games for you, but he won't screw it up. If you're winning, he's not throwing a pick in that spot to give the other team a chance. He threw some late picks last year on comebacks. That's not his thing, but he's way better than what they have. Is there any chance if they don't make a trade that they would go back to DTR this week, Mary Kay?
Yeah, there is a chance. I don't think it's ideal because if you have to then start him against the Ravens, that's going to be, again, a tough defense to go on the road and have to play against the Ravens again. That would be very, very difficult. Nobody really wants to see that happen. But, I think that for them, at this point, it's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other to go from PJ back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm sure that they think that if they support DTR with enough of a run game, he's got a really strong arm. He's more accurate than PJ. There are things he doesn't know and hasn't seen. But again, I think that they think that maybe there would be a trade-off if they can have him cut down on the picks and give him a game plan and have him practice that game plan since Wednesday and really give him the outlet passes, I think that they feel he would probably make better decisions. They probably think that on 3rd and 3, he would have thrown it over the middle to Jerome Ford, or maybe he would have seen Elijah, or maybe David, or whatever. I think that they think just from a processing and decision-making standpoint that they would be better off with Dorian.
Mary Kay, a couple weeks ago you were on the show and you said this Browns defense is the most talented defense you've ever covered since you started covering the Browns, just a couple years ago. But when you look at the team and how they performed the last 2 weeks, 38 points to Indianapolis, they let Seattle drive 57 yards in the final minute last week. Can you kind of pinpoint or put your finger on why this team hasn't been as consistent on that side of the ball as they were in the first 5 weeks of the season?
Well, you know what? First of all, you're going to give up some plays, especially when you play man-to-man. I mean, you're going to have really good receivers on the other team, and they're going to win their fair share of the battles. That's just how it works. But you can survive some of that if you're not giving up a ton of points and you're not giving up the ton of third down conversions and those kinds of things. But what you can't really survive as a defense is your offense putting you on a short field time after time after time. There were 17 points that were cost, basically either scored or cost by those turnovers by P.J. Walker. The Seahawks scored 2 touchdowns off of his turnovers, and the Browns also didn't get a chance to kick a field goal or score a touchdown when they were in the red zone, and he threw a red zone pick. So it's just costly. It's costly. That's what's going on with the defense right now. They're cracking under the strain of not having a consistent offense that's not turning the ball over. But yeah, they've given up some big plays. Good coaches are going to find your weaknesses. They're going to find spots where they think they can take their shots. P.J. Walker takes shots and makes big plays against some good defensive backs sometimes. That's just how this works. The point is to keep the point totals down and to go out and find a way to win the game, even if you're not perfect.
Mary Kay, I've seen that G. New left the game last week with an injury. Do you have any update on that, and will he be available this week?
Not sure about that. He had to leave the game. Probably had an MRI yesterday. We'll know more about that tomorrow. Kevin didn't want to have anything to say about injuries yesterday at all, except for that he's hopeful about Z, who did have some X-rays. Other than that, we don't know yet. But we do know, Greg has missed 1 game this season, but we do know that Greg is one of those players that, he's going to do everything he can to get back out on the field. He doesn't want to miss games. He's going to play in a little bit of pain if he has to. But if you're a cornerback and you have to run, obviously you do, and you have a serious groin injury, it's going to be really hard. So we'll know more about that on Wednesday. Hopefully for everyone, he will be back.
Mary Kay, what did you think of Kareem Hunt's comments after the game about, not getting the ball in the fourth quarter, not getting the ball, that we all know about whether he should have passed or run, but what did you think about his comments? Do you have a problem with it or no?
No, I don't have a problem with it. Players are allowed to talk. We're given the opportunity, the privilege of talking to them right after the game in the heat of the moment. And, that's the beauty of sports writing and sports journalism, is to be able to capture people when they are still upset and frustrated and they just have come out of the shower or come out of the game and they're mad and they're upset that they lost. And that's what you want. You want passion. You want somebody who wants the ball in their hands with the game on the line. Look what he did the week before. He went out and he plowed through and scored that 1-yard game-winning touchdown run. He wanted that chance. I have no problem with that. Kevin Stefanski had no problem with that. You want a player with that kind of passion.
You're right. I was critical of him yesterday for the comments, and I think you're right. And Jason kind of alluded. We always want these guys to be honest. Nothing he said was terrible. It's the heat of the moment. You're right. I'm changing my opinion, and I should not have been. I didn't kill him, but I shouldn't have been critical of Kareem Hunt. And so you've won me over on that, Mary Kay. In terms of the running backs as a whole, they used 3 guys. I loved what I've seen from Pierre Strong. What do you make of where their backfield is right now?
They have a good offensive line. Their run blocking is getting better, and I think that by committee they can get the job done. They've got different styles. Jerome Ford should be a little bit better as they go along here with the high ankle sprain, so that will help a lot. Kareem Hunt, once again, he brings you that power and that that bruising back, and then now you've got Pierre Strong, who also he's got speed and shiftiness and he can catch the ball. So I think they can get the job done by committee. They might go out and get a running back today. I'm not sure. I don't know if they would be clamoring for that or not. I don't think you really need to go out and spend a draft pick for a running back when you can find some either out on the street or on your own roster. They have some practice squad guys too. So I think they have what they need to get the job done, especially because Jerome's ankle is not super serious.
We spent all offseason clamoring over some of the Browns' moves, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They brought in Juan Thornhill, Zadarius Smith, Ogbo, but maybe the most underrated signing of them all has been Mo Hurst, who made one of the best big man interceptions I've ever seen on Sunday. When you go through the numbers, Mary Kay, Mo Hurst is graded out exceptionally well on PFF. His numbers jump off the screen. He forces and creates turnovers. Has he been the most underrated signing the Browns have made this offseason for a guy who we didn't have that high of expectations for, who's come through way more than any of us could have even imagined? Did the Browns know he was that good?
Well, they liked him. Obviously, they really liked him well enough, to bring him in and to sign him. They saw some really great things in him, and he is definitely an underrated player and one of the unheralded guys on this defense this season. I think Obo kind of fits in the same category, but yeah, he's been really, really good. And that was a very, very fun interception. I got a chance to talk to him about it after the game for a minute. I never even got to use the quotes because everything was so crazy. It was late. I had to go get on a red-eye flight, which I'm still recovering from. But he had some cool things to say about that, and he really is a very interesting guy.
Mary Kay, when the trick-or-treaters come to your house tonight, what will be the candy of choice that you will give out most often?
Don't say Almond Joy.
I'm a big Kit Kat guy. I love Kit Kats. But I always make sure that it's a lot of chocolate. It's just all the favorites. We'll have an assortment of things, but there will definitely be a lot of chocolate in there.
Are you an Almond Joy type of person?
Nobody's an Almond Joy.
Nobody likes almond joy.
No, I'm not.
I said it on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
Remember when people used to give apples out sometimes? Those people were the worst.
They did do that.
I once got a pencil when I was a kid. Somebody gave me a pencil. I should have stabbed that person in the eye with that pencil. Idiot.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
Reese's, Kit Kat, Snickers, that's probably my top three.
Three Musketeers.
That's a great Halloween
That means
handout
people are going to
basket,
come to your house twice.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Mary Kay.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Talk to you later. Mary Kay Cabot, as always, does a great job for Cleveland.com. She's the best.
If they give out them king size, you definitely go
You
back
got to go back twice. Yeah.
1 second, Anthony. When I was a kid, right, there was this one house, this really rich family. They owned, you guys wouldn't know it, but at Jewish holidays, we sometimes think called matzah. You know matzah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of matzah?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Anyway,
Lucky.
so the company, the most famous matzah producers is a company called Strites. They make some wines. They make other Jewish foods, and they're a huge company. And the guy who owned that company had a house in my neighborhood. Right, he had this big fancy house. And we would go there for Halloween, and they would give you an entire bag of lollipops.
Oh.
An entire bag.
That's nice.
I would go a few times. Getting that whole bag of lollipops. Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, guys, before we do our PFF grades, I got to remind you one last time about our friends over at FanDuel. Score early this NFL season. It's with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. It's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there really is no better time to get in on all the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. You guys can go visit FanDuel.com/UCSS. You can kick off the NFL season right. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
All right, thank you, FanDuel, and thank you, Anthony. It's now time to grade the PFF grades. We have changed this game every week. We've played it differently every week. How are we playing it this week, Mike?
So I know the answer, so I'm going to let you guys answer, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you 3 players from a category. Let's say running backs, linebackers.
Yeah.
One of the categories
who
a
has
little
the highest
mixed.
grade?
And you just got to rank the 3. There's 3.
Oh, okay.
3
And you
running
gotta
backs, and we rank the 3
rank them how you think they grade out
okay.
PFF.
All right.
We'll see if we agree with how PFF graded said players.
Very
And I
good.
can't see without
Very
my
good.
glasses, so I'm going to go
It's me versus
nerd
Bull.
cowboy here.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see again. I
You're
don't
going-
like the glasses the cowboy
Bull,
hat,
you
but
have
yeah.
no chance.
And whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we can take the first one here, Steve. Our first one up is Kareem Hunt, Pierre Strong, and Jerome.
These are running backs. How do you think PFF graded these 3 running backs? Who came in first, second, and third?
We'll alternate who goes first, okay? So you go first on this one. We'll alternate.
And you say if you agree or disagree.
I'm going to say, dang, that's good. Kareem Hunt scored, right?
He did score a touchdown, correct.
I'm going to say Pierre Strong, Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford.
Damn, that's the exact order I want.
Strong, Hunt, Ford.
I agree with Tyvis, yeah.
Anthony, let's see what PFF decided. Hunt was first, Ford was second, Strong. Finished in third place by just a slim margin behind Jerome
gave
Ford.
it to him because he got the touchdown, man.
But Kareem Hunt with a 79.2 grade. That's a very high running back grade.
For a running back.
Yeah, now he did score.
80, basically.
Yeah, that's really good. He did score. I think he
I don't know that actually scoring.
How many plays did Jerome Ford play?
He played a decent
He played
Did he
more than
really?
you think, yeah.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't think he did.
All right.
Their snap counts, by the way, was 35, 33, 31.
And those grades factor in, like,
Pass
blocks
blocking and
stuff like that. So, okay.
Good for Kareem, man.
All right. Kareem
But a
doing
very
okay.
strong-
I see why he was upset after the game.
A
A
very
couple of
strong
fans
seller.
were mad at me because I called Kareem a guy yesterday, and I love
A
when people do
Jag?
this.
You said he's a Jag?
I said he's a Jag at this point, which I think he is.
He is a Jag.
He's a
Just
nice
a-
Jag,
just
but
a
he's
guy.
and one guy was so mad. He's like, "Yeah, Bull, you just did that for clicks." I love for clicks. Yes, because if I said Kareem Hunt was a star instead of a Jag, that wouldn't have gotten any clicks.
That
Me
would have
calling
really
him
got
a
some
Jag,
clicks.
That gets the clicks going. Yeah, I guess so. All right, go ahead.
All right, next position group we have is the wide receivers with
By the
Elijah
way,
Moore,
my
Amari
my
Cooper,
upper
and
arm
David
is so
Njoku.
white. Can you put the camera back on me?
Go ahead.
Like, look at my arm.
Well, it's also
got a-
helped that you have
you
a
got a
light
farmer's
shining
tan.
right
I got
there,
the farmer's
hitting
tan,
into
man.
Go ahead. It's your turn to go
God,
first.
sorry.
And so this is receivers and tight ends here. So
All right.
pass catchers essentially is a category.
Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, David Njoku. This is tricky. Like, I would think David Njoku would be the first because I thought he had the best game. And I'm going to go Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Elijah Moore. Watch Elijah Moore be number
I'm
one.
going to say, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I'm going to say David Njoku, Amari Cooper, Elijah. So
That's what I was-
Before you
Reverse
show the
order,
answer, one
yeah.
of you guys is correct.
All right.
Who will it be? Let's take it. It is Tyvis. David Njoku for the third straight game.
That's what I thought, and I should have stuck with
For the
it.
third straight game has been the Browns'
playing well.
highest graded offensive player since he suffered the facial injuries.
Yeah.
It has been the best 4-game stretch of his career.
lit a fire under him.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. If you want to make it better, I'm not even going to. Nope, I'm not
By
going to
the
say
way,
it.
All right, anyways.
oddly, having Jedrick Wills, I want to see his grade.
We're getting there.
Because it
We're
seems like
actually-
Jed Wills
he's
and
up
David
next.
Njoku have played better at, like, the same games.
We're going to get there. But real quick
ahead.
on Njoku before
Yeah.
we move on.
He's playing really well.
This is 4 games in a row now
Yeah.
that he has graded extremely well at PFF. We know PFF's
Yeah.
not everything, but it's 3 games in a
I
row now
couldn't
where
let
he has
him
been
pass.
the highest graded offensive player in the Browns.
Yeah.
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I went back. I could not find another time I spent about 15 minutes looking where a same Browns offensive player
He was number one.
was number 1 3
All
weeks in
right.
a row. I went back about 4 seasons.
Yeah, you couldn't
I would
find
think
it.
Nick Chubb might have a couple
Nope.
sprinkled in.
Those
Never
running-
3 games in a
I
row.
don't like the running back grades. I never pay attention to their running back grades. Go ahead.
All right, the next group up is offensive line.
Jed Wills, DeJuan Jones, and Ethan Pochich.
DeJuan is last because he had the small sample size. I'm going to say Ethan Pochich, Jed Wills, DeJuan Jones.
I'm gonna
Small
go-
sample size doesn't mean low grade.
I'm going to
per
go
se.
Jed Wills, DeJuan Jones, Ethan Pochich.
I said Ethan,
Well, Bull,
Ethan, Jed, and
You are
Incorrect.
so wrong.
I
You're
knew
actually
it.
backwards. Pochich scored very well.
Oh, I
Jones.
was right.
I'm not
struggled.
backwards because I had.
I
Jed Wills
called
one.
it. Hey, I'm up two,
Oh, I thought you said
baby.
Wills had 1. Sorry.
See that? I'm
Also,
on.
Jed Wills did not have a good game.
I'm
according to
on the PFF. I know
So
what's
let's get
going
Trent
on.
Brown again.
58 is above where he had been
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the
it's
season. But
acceptable.
it's a bit lower than where he had been. But Wills, the offensive line played well enough. At the end of the day, they
Jed
played
Wills
well
is,
enough.
at this point, last 3 weeks, is playing acceptable football.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, not everybody's got to be great. He's playing acceptable. Go ahead.
This next group, by the way, is just offensive players
All right.
that did not grade well.
Tyvis leads 2-1 in the competition right
Yes.
now. All right.
2-0. You ain't get one right.
Yes, I did. I got the.
The first one we was both
Oh, no,
wrong.
you're up 3-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Because we
The
both
first
got,
one we got it wrong.
both
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
yeah.
2-0. All right, who goes first this time? Me.
You.
DPJ Harrison Bryant.
These are the lowest graded players. offensively.
What did Harrison Bryant have like
Harrison
5
Bryant
plays?
play?
No, Harrison Bryant played 26 snaps.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He gonna be. I wouldn't be shocked if he
mean,
got traded today.
These guys are all.
These are the lowest 3.
I'll say. Oh, God. I'll say DPJ. Harrison. No, I'm going to say Harrison Bryant, PJ Walker, DPJ.
Tyvis? You said Harrison Bryant's the highest.
Yeah.
Walker second. DPJ
And then
the
DPJ
lowest.
is the lowest grade. Yeah.
I'm gonna say DPG. I'm gonna say just in that order right there.
Okay.
How it's listed.
Unfortunately, I don't believe either of you are correct.
Oh.
Let's see it.
I was close. I got the best guy.
You were closer.
Yeah, I was closer.
Dang it!
We got defensive players
They all
next.
stink.
Defensive
Okay,
players a
go
little more interesting. But PJ Walker had upgraded his grade from a 23 last week to a 46 this week,
Congrats.
doubling his week-by-week progression.
Congrats.
Go ahead.
Hey,
start with the
maybe
defense.
he might take another step. Just
went
If he
from-
doubles it again,
He went from super shitty to just plain shitty.
Who does the Cardinals have on defense?
they got a couple. Kaiser White's pretty good.
They still got the
Linebacker.
safety, Buda Baker?
He's not
Yeah.
playing.
He's not playing?
He hasn't had a stat yet.
Is
If
the
he's playing, I haven't seen
Murphy
That-
Jr. still there, the corner?
Byron
No
Murphy.
idea.
No, he's in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, they're through.
It is not a good defense.
They
Let's put it that way.
through.
Not a good defense.
All right, you guys next have the defensive line.
Miles Garrett, Darius Smith, and Mo Hurst.
Well, it's even though Mo had
That was a great play.
damn.
But even the pick looks awesome. That's a picture from the interception.
Okay, so I'm going with Mo first, Miles second, Zadarius. No, Mo, Miles, Zadarius.
I'm going Miles, Mo, Zadarius.
You guys both are correct. Darius is last. But who's right about who's first? Ant, show him.
Boy, you is, man, I'm just wiping the floor.
Killing me.
Mo
Are you-
Hurst, by
I'm
the way,
overthinking it. I'm overthinking it.
the
He had a
fourth,
pick.
the
I know,
fourth
but I thought
highest.
they were trying to mess with us. Like, with those guys.
Mo Hurst was a 92.4, the
Yeah.
fourth highest rated defensive player with at least 30 snaps this week in the entire NFL.
By the way, when everybody wrote him off before the season as just another guy, I was saying consistently
He can play.
that if he stayed
I
healthy,
said
he'd
the
be
same
great.
thing. In the
Because he was really
preseason,
good with the Niners
in the
when he was healthy.
preseason when they cut him, I said that's a mistake because he was balling.
We
in the
all went
preseason.
They
crazy.
were lucky nobody signed him.
They got him back, but we all thought that was
He's
a mistake
playing
at the moment.
really
He's
well.
been phenomenal. He's one of the 5 facts you need to know for Sunday.
All right.
He'll be featured on Friday when we
Very
do that
good.
segment.
Next.
All right, next you guys have the linebackers.
These are players that played in the box.
I'm first.
Delpit's not technically a linebacker, but these are guys that played in the box. You know?
I'm first, right?
No, I think
No,
I'm first.
Bulls
Are
are
you
first
first?
here.
Okay.
I'm going
I'm-
Grant Delpit, Anthony Walker, JOK. Reverse order of the graphic.
Ty?
I like that actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Just to be different, I'm gonna say Del Pitt, JOK, Anthony Walker.
Mm.
And what do we got?
Yes!
I got it right.
Oh, you got it.
I got it right. I appreciate it
I
though.
thought I got it right. You're killing me, Simon.
Delpit played another good game. He bounced back in a couple low-graded games. And
Anthony Walker was crap in this one, according to PFF. Huh?
yeah, Walker was not good. I don't know how, but JOK deserves all the flowers for what he's turned around.
You know
when
why?
he was last, because DeQuell.
Because this offseason, JOK worked with DeQuell Jackson. So if anything, we need to give credit to DeQuell Jackson because whatever happens with JOK is
Yeah.
strictly because of DeQuell Jackson.
And DeQuell is the best middle linebacker in modern Browns history. So
He is. But JOK really has had a tremendous turn.
He has.
And the
Great. He's having a
defensive tackles
tremendous
has
season.
helped.
He went from a guy that should be cut.
he and Delpit are the two most improved players on the team.
I would
He
agree.
said- He came away and said,
agree.
I would cut him.
Go ahead, Anthony. What's next?
All right, your guys' last is the defensive
Corners.
backs.
Yep.
Corners, Newsome.
So
Ward.
Emerson is first. Emerson, Ward, Newsome. The reverse order.
I'm going to say the same order. No, I'm going to say Ward 1, Emerson 2, Newsome 3. Fight the pick.
Can Bull get his first win?
Drum roll, Mike.
No, I cannot.
Denzel was last. Guess he ain't had no impact on the game. You know?
I don't know.
It's the beauty and the curse of PFF. You never know exactly what you're going to get. I think this week
Yeah.
it did line up
I thought that
pretty well with the eye test, but
I thought Newsome was getting beat like a drum. In the
Yeah,
beginning of that
overall it
game.
lined up well with the eye test because the couple of times that I guessed wrong,
You were just
I
going
was trying to
against
outthink
Tyvus,
things.
Yeah. Because you said Njoku, you didn't go with Njoku.
Right,
You're like,
right,
I think
yeah.
Njoku.
But Tyvus, the champion of the game. Congratulations.
I think it's when you do it so much that it's like it's nothing new now.
There you
It
go.
lost this thing. Now I need to get my true or false belt back. That has to happen.
What happened to the belt? Where is
It's
it?
hanging
It's
over there.
There
We're
you
playing
go.
True or False tomorrow. And we got new music for True and False, by the way.
Oh.
New music, a UCSS original.
But see, what's gonna happen is Jay gonna throw an asterisk on it because he's
Jay's
not here.
Tomorrow? Jay's not. Oh,
Can you,
yeah.
No, Jay's
you
not
can't
always-
contact him and
I
give
will
him
I will get Jay's answers
Thank
to
you.
see.
He hasn't
yeah.
responded in our group text in forever. I mean, he's not.
He's playing baseball right now.
He's not big in the group text anyway.
Well, if you ask him directly, he it might take him a couple of hours, but he will respond.
I will get Jay's answers to True and False before
Has,
we play tomorrow.
Has G ever typed in that group chat?
I'm pretty sure he texted us last night about the costumes.
That's different.
Also,
That was
G
a
took a
different-
vacation
that was
this
a
week.
What
So
G
did his
does
fantasy
is
team.
he very rarely chats in the chat group, and then every once in a while he'll respond to like the last 10 conversations all at once and completely out of context at that point.
Out of pocket.
G was very much arguing last night that he did not want to dress up.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's not here today. No, he's not. By the way, in the last week, I've now told both my dog and my wife that they're both out of pocket.
What'd your wife do?
You're out of pocket.
I don't remember what she was out of pocket
You
about, but I
told
told
the
her she was out of
dog.
pocket.
You told the dog.
I told the dog, that's the funniest one. I was like, Chris, you're out of pocket right now. You're out of pocket, buddy. I don't yell at my dog, but that's what I'm saying.
You're out of pocket.
Well, you know where we aren't out of pocket? It's behind the glass. We are totally in pocket.
Please, you
all
guys
the
are out of pocket all the
I'm about to
time.
say
No, we are totally in pocket during behind the glass, so you can catch us on
I don't
behind
like
the glass
that.
tomorrow.
I don't like that.
I'm looking at the chat. And they,
That transition might have been a little out of pocket, but you can catch us
he's in
tomorrow on
pocket.
Behind the Glass. 7 o'clock on Wednesdays, me, Earl, and Mike get on the restream. We talk to you guys. We give you some behind the scenes. We give you our opinions about what's going on this week. It's a good time. Come hang out behind the glass, 7 p.m.
We promise we will never say in pocket again.
are-
That is a promise from me to you,
from a little
We will
glance
never,
at the chat.
ever say it again.
They are killing McNuggets outfit.
They're killing it?
Killing it.
Oh, I look great today.
They're
I got a
killing
couple super chats about the costumes that
Oh,
we're going to read
perfect.
at the end of the show.
Perfect.
And
Listen.
one of them is really funny.
Oh, my
Perfect.
God, they must be
Listen.
killing me.
Luke Michaels is going to put out a #1 hit. I'm about to take over
Let's
Taylor
not get-
Swift on
let's
top
not
of
get
the
nuts.
country music charts billboards.
The sword.
And once this thing gets going, you can't stop me, folks. Once
All
Luke
right.
Michaels takes off, there's no bringing him back down.
All right, where are we going next here, Anthony?
Talking
All right, so
quarterbacks.
Mike, I want you to set this up because you wrote this
Yeah.
out last night
Yeah.
with Dobbs getting benched.
So, yeah, Josh Dobbs, we were all, as of yesterday, when we left this show, we were fully anticipating a Josh Dobbs
Yes.
reunion in Cleveland. And we would see once and for all did the Browns make the right decision in trading him in the offseason. But as it turns out, Arizona's head coach, Jonathan Gannon, who's
Yeah.
a St. Ignatius alum, by the way. I wasn't actually aware of that, but he's a
Yes.
Cleveland native and an
Did
Ignatius
he play at
alum.
Mount Union or something?
That was Sirianni. But he
Sirianni,
went
right.
to St.
Sirianni
Ignatius.
was from Mount Union.
Yeah, he's a Mount Union guy.
There's a lot of Mount Union guys
in the NFL, yeah.
yeah.
So he watched the tape back, and then he had his Monday press conference, just like Stefanski does, and said,
Yeah.
I watched the tape, and Josh Dobbs ain't it. He's not him. We're going to start either Clayton Tune
Oh, yeah, he didn't
or
know that
Kyler
before
Murray
this week?
against Cleveland.
He's a
And we
defensive
don't
guy,
know.
so.
We don't know at this point who's going to start for Cleveland. It could be Deshaun Watson. It could be P.J. Walker. It could be DTR. So we are here at Tuesday at 12:32 p.m., and we don't know either of the starting quarterbacks for
Yeah.
the game on Sunday.
Honestly, for the Cardinals, it could be two different guys, right, at this point.
for the
Clayton
Browns, it could
Tune
be
or-
three.
For the Browns, it could be 20.
Yeah, you're right.
of
It
the
could,
trade.
it could
I
be.
mean, anything's possible. I have
Yeah.
we have
No. Because if you make a trade for a quarterback outside of the name Jacoby Brissett, they're not
Yeah,
even ready to
Josh
play.
Dobbs.
Stop it. Y'all need to cut that out.
Well, whoever it is,
Wait a
it's
second.
Tuesday, and we don't know who the quarterbacks
Didn't
are
the
for a
great
Saturday
Baker
game.
Mayfield start for the Rams
And,
last year?
guess what happened after he did that?
He won.
They said
he played well that game.
it's the greatest thing ever because
Right.
it's so hard
I know
to
that.
do that. So
But it's
there's
not
no way that they're
impossible.
about to do that.
Not impossible.
Not impossible.
Not
me
impossible.
ask
Not
you
with
this.
a great defense.
Let me ask you this.
Against Arizona, it's not impossible.
If the Browns traded today, which would be today, for Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton, would you rather start one of those guys, or would you rather start P.J. Walker or DTR this
I'd
Sunday?
start Dalton, not Winston.
Why?
You would have to start him so they can get their feet wet because you're going
Right.
up against Arizona.
Why would you not start Winston? Because Dalton's
Winston's
played a game and Winston hasn't?
No. It has nothing to do with that. I think Dalton's a veteran quarterback who could come
So
in.
is Winston at this point.
Yeah, but Winston has such boom or bust potential.
The red rifle.
That I just don't feel confident
But
coming
his
in.
bust can't be any worse than P.J. Walker.
But it's Arizona, though. Not saying that Arizona can't win because they could clearly come in there and win the game. They beat Dallas.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying.
I just wouldn't feel.
I'll be
I wouldn't feel
surprised if they
comfortable.
trade for Jameis Winston.
I wouldn't feel comfortable.
He's going to Minnesota.
I haven't heard any rumors on Andy Dalton at all.
Hold up. Ian Rappaport just tweeted.
Uh-oh.
It is likely that Kyler Murray will get the start.
Wow.
Oh, no. I take that back. I read that wrong. It is likely Clayton Tune will start this week before the Kyler Murray experience
Mike,
begins
that's
next
a big
week.
difference. What's the matter with you?
I saw starting Kyler Murray. I got
maybe
excited.
you're going to read the tweet first.
Yeah, that
before
was
you
bad
get
on me.
out of-
It looks
out of
like
pocket.
Clayton Tune.
Mike was just out of pocket.
Clayton Tune.
Not in pocket.
No, we're never in pocket again. But Clayton Tune appears to be the starter for
I never even heard
Arizona.
of him before the season. Have you?
He was
where did he play?
He went to the University of Houston. He was the pick in the draft.
Right,
Literally
right
one
before.
pick before DTR. Clayton Tune was pick 139. DTR was pick 140. Clayton Tune played in the preseason.
Yeah.
They decided he was not capable of being the starter, so they traded for Josh Dobbs, which should tell you something that Tune got all the QB1 reps in preseason.
Yeah.
And it did not go well enough to give him the runway before Kyler Murray came back.
All right,
So they
I'm
traded for
going
Josh
to
Dobbs.
quiz you guys on Clayton Tune. We're going to ask some Clayton
Wait,
Tune
where
questions.
did he go?
He went to Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many years did Clayton Tune play in college?
I did the bio. I know all the answers. 5.
Did his bio already?
Yeah. Got to be prepared. He played 5 years.
What was his touchdown to interception ratio the last 2 years in college?
He made all AAC his senior year.
Nobody's asking you for that.
And I think he threw.
No, how many touchdowns, how many picks last 2 years in college at Houston?
It's like 3-1. He threw 112 touchdowns and 41 interceptions in his career, if I remember. Made a stat this morning.
104-41 total. But the last 2 years, 70 touchdowns, 20 picks.
Really?
He's productive in college, yeah.
Is Clayton Tune white, black, or other?
I know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
What do you think?
Other. No.
No, he's a white guy.
White guy, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
He goes.
But the truth is, we have a situation where it could be Clayton Tune.
Yeah.
It still could be Kyler Murray, most likely Clayton Tune versus whoever the Browns roll out at quarterback. And as you said,
Yeah.
there could be 50 options. But
Right.
I am disappointed we're not going to get the Josh Dobbs reunion because I just wanted I wanted to see the Browns defense absolutely destroy his existence.
The Browns are going to play. This guy's a guy making his NFL debut.
I know,
the Browns
but
should kill
They
him.
wouldn't do that.
But there's
they wouldn't destroy him because they boy a little bit.
it doesn't matter.
Instead, they'll want to kill this guy.
We saw Tyson Bagent in Chicago
Yeah.
in the same situation. No tape, no
Right.
nothing. A guy from a D2 university come in,
Yeah.
played pretty damn well for Chicago, lead them to win over Vegas. Now
How'd he do
Vegas
this week?
It's
Vegas sucks, but the first week's always different.
What's
The first week's always
What did
different.
DTR do?
It's so
Well, that was a different
wrong.
situation. He got thrown
it's
in.
not.
He got thrown in 10 minutes before the game started.
No, it's not.
He had no ramp
2
up.
hours.
Stop it.
He had
2
no
hours,
ramp up.
2.5
He knew he was
hours.
probably going to play all week.
No,
Stop the nonsense.
Deshaun said on Friday, I'm playing.
No, get out of here. He
I
had to
don't
get
think
If
he-
you
I
don't
don't
think-
think he did.
If you think DTR
bogus.
knew he was going to play, I'm calling cap. I'm calling cap on you. You can't put a hat on with that hair, but I'm calling cap.
You actually stuck with it the whole
Yeah.
show. Actually, I applaud you.
It's driving me nuts at this point, but we only got another 20-some
But you
minutes.
can't truly believe DTR knew he was starting that game.
He had to know there was a reasonable chance he was going to start.
Well, he
Yes.
still had no reps leading up to
I
it.
think he had a small. He's like, okay, maybe.
We saw how much more
You know
confident
what? It's
PJ
his
Walker
fault
looked.
for not getting ready, and it's the team's fault for not getting him ready. So beat them.
Then fine. If you want to go that way,
Clayton
it's fair.
Tune, listen, there's no excuse. The Browns should kick Clayton Tune's ass back to his wherever the hell he's from.
So, Tyvus, you played in the NFL. Did you ever go against?
By the way, every time you ask Tyvus a question, you don't have to say you played in the NFL. We all know we played in the NFL.
Tyvus?
We don't have to say it every single time.
Tyvus, you played at Ohio State. Did you ever go against a rookie quarterback making his first start in the NFL?
Let me think about that. That's a good question.
He could do that because he played.
I
in the
feel like
NFL.
I could look. Maybe I could figure it out before Tyvus does if I look at
I
his
played
pro-
with a young guy who made their first start on my team with Nick Mullins. I don't think so. I don't think I went up against.
Why is Tyvus not coming up?
So, if you're Jim Schwartz, then do you game plan not any differently, but do you ramp up the aggressiveness?
Yeah.
Do you turn it down a little bit to make him have to beat you?
No, you definitely.
Or do you force the mistakes?
Well, you have to look at what they do well. I mean, you have to look at their tendencies because the game plan for him is probably going to be dwindled down just a tad bit.
Yeah.
They won't throw the whole kitchen sink at him, so it'll be a modified game plan. So, and after the first quarter, you'll know. And it's really like this with a lot of teams. After the first quarter, you kind of know what you're gonna get, what type of concepts they're running in the passing game, how they're trying to block you, and then it's up to you to make the adjustments. But to come out in that first quarter, you be aggressive because you want to see how he handles pressure. You want to see how he handles adversity. So you throw some people in there because having a guy like Myles Garrett, that's already going to be where his mind is at. So he's going to have happy feet to begin with. He might be, if this is his first NFL start, he might be like P.J. Walker where he got a one read and then I got to get rid of it because the pressure rate, the Browns are second in the NFL in pressure rate. So I got to hurry up and get my read. If it ain't there, I got to throw check down right away. So if I'm the Browns this week, I'm being extremely aggressive on that, but I need my linebackers to be ready to go to the kill zone. We call it the check down is the kill zone on defense.
And he played in the NFL, so he knows what those zones are called.
Who is the only – he started one game in the NFL.
Yes. And that was
who was the quarterback? Don't answer it.
You don't have to remind him that he started one game in the NFL. We all know Tyvus played one game in the NFL.
No, he played more than one.
No, I played it more than one. I started one.
Who was the starting quarterback? Don't answer it. Let's see if these guys can guess. Who was the starting quarterback that Tyvus faced in the one game in the NFL he started?
Josh Rosen.
That is incorrect.
Was it Cam Newton?
Incorrect. This guy is still a starting quarterback in the NFL.
He is. And it's the sad, the sad thing is I had a chance. He threw me a pick and I dropped it. Not only did
I remember you told us
Not
the
only
story.
did I drop it, the dude ended up catching it.
And he's still a starter?
And got an
He's
explosive.
still a starter.
It was
Is it Garoppolo?
terrible.
It is not
He
Garoppolo.
was my teammate.
No, I wasn't sure if you were on the Seattle or
Does Earl have a
49ers
guess?
first.
Was it
No,
Russell
Earl's
Wilson?
clipping right now.
No, it wasn't Russell.
Nope.
Not sure.
Go ahead, Tyvus.
It is Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, there you go.
Derek Carr threw me a pick and I dropped it. It was a shame. I laid out for it like this and it.
Do you have the video of it?
No, I don't.
We gotta
I got
find
it.
that
I got the game saved at my in-laws' house. But yeah, he threw it. So I told you I was going up against the running back. This was when I became a starter. I watched film all week because it was a Thursday night game. So I watched film for like 3 straight days.
Yeah.
And the tendency that I seen was when this running back, because they had 2 running backs, but the one running back who they use in the third down situations, he was like their pass catcher.
Abdullah?
Real shit. His name was Richard. Jalen Richard.
Jalen
I think.
Richard,
yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
So
yeah.
he was real shifty, and every time he ran his route, he broke out. It was always an outward breaking route. So I knew that coming into the game. Like on this play, I'm playing down safety. We playing one man or one hole, which means that I got my responsibility as the running back. So when he came out the backfield, he came up to me and he hit me with the move, and he like faked inside real good, and I took a step. And as I took the step, I said, wait a minute, he goes outside every time. So I ran out of it, and as I ran out, I looked back, the ball was right there. I laid out for it like this. Boom, went off my hands. Jalen Richard catches it, gets 20 yards on it.
Oh,
And
no.
Guess who saved me? Because it would have been a touchdown.
Sure.
Richard Sherman. Sherman made the tackle.
say do you have to play?
We was laughing. We went to the sideline. Robert Saleh was like, he said, how you going to make a play like that and you going to give up the only explosive that they have on this game? I said, listen, man. I was talking to Cam Chancellor all week. He was telling me, when you get out there, this is what you got to do at safety. He was like giving me a bunch of notes. He said, don't worry, I'm gonna be watching. I get to my phone at halftime. How you gonna drop the money?
So if Clayton Tune is starting,
Yeah.
would you feel more comfortable playing DTR in that game? Assuming they don't make it trade.
Yes.
Let's just say it's
Yes.
still Walker and DTR. Do you feel more confident?
Yes, because I think DTR is your long-term guy anyway.
It does make it tricky, though, as Mary Kay said, Jason said this as well yesterday, that they're playing the Ravens the following week.
What'd that mean?
Just that's a tough spot for him to play in his 3rd game after they kicked his ass a few weeks
If
ago.
they go to DTR, she's saying it's tough to go back to Walker then if he doesn't play well and Deshaun's not ready.
Split the ribs.
See, I think that's the worst case scenario.
Split the ribs.
I would go to DTR. I go back to this. The Browns traded Josh Dobbs.
No, it ain't. That's not hard. Actually, that'd be the most logical thing they could do.
Splitting
get your
reps?
get your confidence back. DTR, going back to DTR, get your confidence back with the Cardinals. You've already went against Baltimore, so you know what the heck to expect. So you know what to prepare for.
So you're saying so it makes sense.
If you got to go up against Baltimore again. Let me remind you what you did the last time. Now you can see all the glaring mistakes that you made. So now you go out there, you know what to expect. You know where the pressure's coming from. You know what type of coverages they're running. This is what you miss. Make sure you don't miss it this time.
By the way, news from Ohio State.
Yeah, Myron Williams is out for the season. I already seen.
Oh, he's out for the season?
Yeah, Myron Williams out for the season. I already seen.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you ain't going to break no Ohio State news to me now.
I'm with Ty on the DTR thing, though. They traded Josh Dobbs in the first place because they believed in DTR. They don't make that Josh Dobbs trade if they didn't think DTR was ready to be quarterback 2 in case called upon an emergency. I don't think Baltimore was a fair shake for DTR whatsoever. I think he got done dirty. Whether or not he knew 15 minutes before, 2 hours before a bowl, whatever it was, he didn't show up Sunday knowing he was legitimately the starter. And we saw this week, P.J. Walker, despite the 3 turnovers, there were parts of the game where he played much better than he had in his first 2 starts.
Yes.
Why?
Listen,
I think he had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to prepare as quarterback.
The Browns are in a desperate situation. They have DTR, who's probably not ready to play in the NFL, may never be.
And P.J. Walker,
and
who's
P.J.
not a
Walker,
quarterback.
who's not an NFL quarterback. So that's why they've got to do something here in the next 3 hours and 15 minutes. So stop fartsing around. I don't want to discuss DTR or P.J. Walker.
Well,
I want the Browns to have a legitimate startable quarterback.
Well, guess what happens when we walk in here tomorrow?
We're going to be talking about DTR and P.J. Walker. No, because I believe the Browns will make a trade here. By the way, it
ain't happening, boy. Just let it go.
This is fun.
It's not happening.
Some fake Twitter account put up a Browns-Washington trade. This is not real, but I thought it might be fun to talk about. If you were the Browns, would you do this? Obviously, Washington wouldn't do this. I guess that means the Browns would. But here we go. Terry McLaurin and Jacoby Brissett for DPJ, a second-round pick, and a fifth-round pick.
I sprinted over.
I would do that so fast.
I sprinted over there.
Yeah. I was wondering if it was actually fair, but of course it's not. So.
Anytime you can get more,
you got to make a fake.
Anytime you can get more Buckeyes on your team, your chances of winning go.
Would you give up a second and third round pick?
Yep.
For McLaurin and Jacoby.
Yep.
What's Terry McLaurin's contract status situation on it? He's a really good receiver. And he's played with nothing but bad
Don't care. We need a wide receiver that we can, because this is.
And he's young too.
Isn't this Amari Cooper's last year?
He technically has one more year after this, but they could finagle contracts.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns have no answers at wide receiver. No. They can't. Like, I was thinking they'd let Amari Cooper walk, but they have.
They would never let Terry go for no second round pick. I'll tell you that right now. You can forget that.
Yeah, I don't think they're trading Terry McLaurin. That would be really stupid.
He's probably the one guy they're not fielding calls on, in all honesty.
Listen, anybody's available.
Well,
most guys are available at the right price.
One last thing, the quarterbacks, and I know we got some super chats, emojis, and members we got to get to.
Right.
So, for the sake of this, it's Clayton Tune. Tomorrow is Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll know the deadline deal situation.
Right.
For this,
everything's kind of on hold on this conversation until we see what happens at 4 o'clock.
So for this, let's just pretend they don't make a move. I know they will. Let's say
if they don't make a move, I'd start DTR.
Do you think that tomorrow Kevin Stefanski will name a starter? At his press conference tomorrow.
No.
It'll be Wednesday.
No, because I think they're going to hold out hope that Watson
The
could play
Commanders may not be done. They are taking calls on Chase Young.
So you don't think he'll name a starter tomorrow, regardless, assuming that they don't make a trade?
I think they will not name a starter until Deshaun Watson is officially ruled out. And that could happen tomorrow because he was ruled out last Wednesday. But you know what? This whole quarterback situation has been one bad bit of communication after the other, so it's impossible to guess what they're going to do. I don't know why I'm so sold. I am convinced the Browns are going to trade for a quarterback today.
Let it go.
I'll be honest, I have no facts to back that up.
Let it go.
I don't have any information on this.
You got to go.
It's just a gut feeling.
Go in there with no expectations, no disappointments.
Ty, do you think Stefanski would name a quarterback tomorrow? If they don't make a trade, will he name either DTR, P.J. Walker, or Deshaun? You think at his press conference?
Yes.
He speaks at 1:45
You know
tomorrow.
why? Because he's worked better when he's done it that way.
Yeah.
Things have worked out better when you stop the delaying and stop going back and forth. You go out there and you say, this is who we rolling with this week, let's roll. And that's just it. Like when you go out there and we're going to wait till Friday. Now you got both of them trying to figure out who they want. Now you got wide receivers thinking about who I need to get the chemistry with. It's too much. Name it. Don't look back. It is what it is.
It's like, Kevin Hart, the joke, say it with your chest.
Yeah, say it with your chest.
Say it, mean it, move on, and live with the decision. That's it.
That's
like
it.
you can't waffle, you can't waver. Pick a side.
And if you're going to go back to DTR at any point, this would be
This
the
is
game
when you
to
do it.
Yeah, if they're not going to do it now, then
they
If
never
you're
will
not
do
going, if you're not going to name him the starter and play him this game, then that's it. He on ice for the rest of the season.
I mean,
unless we just
Unless
completely
injury
fall on our
backup.
face.
going against another rookie quarterback. The Cardinals have one of the worst defenses in the league. The Cardinals stink. I mean, they got the Cardinals? They got nothing.
That's what I just said. I don't
They're
know.
terrible.
I don't know
We
nobody
went
on defense.
to pull the curtain back real quick, and then I know we got to do members, but I asked Earl to make some, the stat graphics this week.
Yeah.
And I had to do some legitimate research to find who were some of the Cardinals' better defensive players. And even the ones I put in, Earl was like, "Is that a real name?" I've
Right,
never heard.
could've been
And,
made up.
and it's not a knock on Earl. These
Wait a
guys
minute,
are
real quick. I need to say this. Put the camera on me. This is going to take literally 45 seconds. I got to tell this quick story. So Sunday, as you all know, that I do the Browns post-game and pregame and post-game show. So obviously it's an away game. I do it at the Browns facility. So I decided to go to the Browns facility to do the pregame show. And do you know that they sent me to the side where the guys that work out at? They like, "You here for the workout?" I should have said yes. I should have said yes, man. I swear I dropped the ball on this. They said, "Are you here for the workout?" And they sent me to the door. They like,
I like that you still look like
they like, "You need to sign this waiver." And I'm like, "Sign a waiver?" I'm like, "I'm here to do a pregame show." They said, "Oh, you're not here for the workout?" I should have
look
said
at that.
yes. I would have got my foot in the door and I'd have been back.
Tyvus can play.
I would have been back. I blew it.
You back.
I blew it.
That would have been a great story.
I know. I blew it.
They would have been like, "We got to go with this guy. This is Larry Costanzo."
I
over here.
swear. I was looking at the dude in front of me like he looked like he might play like running back because he was kind of shorter, kind of stocky guy.
Yeah.
So I had to do some running back drills.
That's funny.
And I know we got to shout out
You'd
some
be a
members.
tall running back.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, well, you don't weigh as much as Derrick Henry, though.
I blew it, man. I've been kicking myself about that all
You
week.
should have gone for the tryout. Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, guys. So it is the first year. We have super chats to read. It's the first year of memberships. Before we get to the super chats,
First
though,
anniversary of membership.
the first anniversary
Take a
of
breath.
memberships.
Take a breath.
And as usual, it's brought to you by PCC Airfoils when we read super chats. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions, starting at $18 and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
All right, what do we got?
We got a lot of super chats today, a lot commenting on your guys' costumes.
Let's go.
First up, Preston Herring. Bull looks like Aunt Susan, which might be a reference I don't actually get.
I have no idea who Aunt Susan
I don't know who Aunt Susan is.
I have an Aunt
But Bull,
Susan.
you look like her.
Okay.
I have an Aunt Susan who is stunningly still alive. My Aunt Susan has been on her deathbed like 4 different times.
I'm sorry for laughing.
No, it's all right. She's almost 80. She's in terrible shape. She's like blind. She's a mess. And I'm stunned she's still alive, honestly. But
Okay, Aunt Susan.
good for her, Aunt
Yeah.
Susan. But I don't look like her. Maybe I do. I don't know.
You might.
Whoever Aunt
Thanks
Susan
for your super chat, Preston. Next up, we have Gerald Jack. No G. Bush again. I'm out. Gerald, we hope to see you tomorrow. Donnie Stewart
That's not an
says...
appropriate response. You say, Gerald, you're a tool job. Because Gerald's a tool. He's not a tool. The fact that he would leave the show just because G. Bush is not here is a slap in the face to the rest of us. You can't take that.
I don't know. I thought about calling off today since she wasn't here. I get
Gerald's
it. I'm
a
see
tool.
where he's coming
Gerald,
from.
you're a tool. It's not your fault, but you are. Go ahead.
All right, next up from Donnie. Come on, guys. Do you really think Watson will last a full game against Baltimore or Pittsburgh? They
No.
play hurt if you. They play too hurt if they can.
No.
No.
No, I don't think he
No,
could.
that's why I've been saying that. Wait, come on, guys. That's why we've all been talking about getting a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Co-sign.
All right. Next up, we got Reeve. Bull looks like my uncle from Pennsylvania, so you look like all the aunts and uncles today. Michael says, I'd trade Kevin for Freddie Kitchens.
That is
he's
terrible.
lying.
That's out of pocket.
He's
Terrible.
lying. He's lying.
That's an out-of-pocket take. You
That's
call
way
it.
out of cap.
Yeah, it's a bad
I
take.
should add a cap.
He is
All right,
lying
so
to
from
himself.
Simple, I know these guys are professionals, but how much do you guys think Jacoby thinks and wants to come back? Also, could we get him and Henry or Barkley? Could we get all of them?
I think for sure he would want to come back.
Yeah.
Anytime you could have the chance to be a starting quarterback
Bingo.
and you were successful in that offense and you know those guys, you know you have built chemistry and a relationship with that guy and that coach, you want to go back there for sure.
And the Browns are a better team than
And
Washington.
and on top of that, you got a chance to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, the city loves you no matter what you do.
And he left.
You ain't getting number 7 back, so you can let
Yeah.
that go because Dustin Hopkins got that.
He left because he wanted to have a chance to start, and he thought he could have a chance to start in
Well,
Washington.
the Browns were not going to offer him.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So he left because it was a better opportunity. It
Right.
turns out he's a backup there, just like he was here.
Yeah.
I think he'd come back with open arms if they said, "Hey,
He absolutely.
Jacoby,
I'd be
you'd start a game or
shocked if he
two."
didn't want
And
to
then
come
the
back.
Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, it ain't happening.
I don't think either of those guys is getting traded. Certainly, I think we'd be interested in.
I do. Yeah.
I'd take either. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think it would happen. Go ahead.
All right, so next up, Peter R. said, popped in real quick during a meeting and died laughing while Bull stared into my soul with that wig. I need answers. What is happening? Well, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween.
So we're all dressed
That
up,
is
Peter.
funny.
Happy holidays.
If you put on the show and you're not realizing it, especially because Tyvis took off his costume, and Mike, like, it's a semi costume here. Like,
It's a semi.
Mike could dress like this regularly, except for the cowboy hat. I look, beyond absurd.
In Tyvis's defense, you can't talk through that helmet the whole show.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I know that.
That's
I'm
fair.
just saying that's why the people might have been thrown off because Tyvis is not wearing a costume.
Yeah.
All right,
It,
next
do
up.
look, it would look weird. Like,
I
what
mean, you
the
just
heck?
turn it on, you see me wearing ridiculous.
I'm not gonna lie. I
wigs.
probably would cut it on and look and be like,
Florio.
"Oh yeah, this ain't my type of show."
What's next, Dan?
All right, next up, you've got Akimbo RPGs. Bears are getting Williams. What if the Browns go and get Fields?
Caleb Williams.
If the
Fields is
Browns get Fields,
The Browns cannot afford a
Browns are
quarterback.
getting
yeah, no.
Browns
They're not
can get
trading
Fields.
Fields, and he's hurt. That's
I tell you what, though, if they did, he fit the black and mobile part.
Next.
All right, James Bowen says, why are you guys talking
I think
about getting a
that's
vertical
gonna be-
threat when we have Godwin, who has Olympic speed but runs 0 routes?
Well, the problem is we can't get the ball. He's a guy that's too fast. He's
let's
too
be
fast.
fair. He's never been a huge part of any offense, really, anywhere. he's
No,
been.
but he's been behind defenses, and we cannot get that ball. To
Right?
that
No,
man.
that's true. By the
Hollywood
way,
Browns an upgrade over Marquise. No, I know it's your guy.
How is
But Hollywood Browns better than Marquise.
yeah. I mean, he's an
Goodwin.
every down guy. He
It's
runs
not,
routes.
It's not apples to apples. One's an every play wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
One's a, I don't want to say
by
a
the way,
gadget guy,
Tyvus,
but a gadget guy.
I think that should be your fantasy football nickname next year. Is Black and Mobile.
Next.
All right,
No,
next.
it's
From
gonna
Devont,
it's gonna be light of fire.
Dontavius Winston. Still don't understand why the Browns gave up on DTR. Doesn't make any sense considering everything leading up to that game against the Ravens. Any guess?
Why they gave up on him?
They gave up on him. I don't think they gave. Yeah, they did. The reason that they gave up on him is because they realized that he was overwhelmed in his performance. He didn't have a chance to really read the coverages, and they needed to win games.
Next.
All right, next up we have Eric Barner. Bring back Jacoby Brissett QB sneaks.
Yep.
That will be
Aggie
back on the
Furry
table.
101. I think I'm pronouncing that right. McNuggets is dressed like Silly Nelson and Johnny Trash, which might be my favorite.
I like
Super Chat
both those.
today.
Hey, that is
Silly
appropriate.
Nelson.
Silly
Johnny
Nelson
Trash.
and
Willie
yeah, I like that.
Nelson.
That was good.
All right, next up
That
is
was good.
from our boy Daryl. Tyvis McNuggets Bull. Great show. Love you guys. UCSS is lit on Halloween.
See, Daryl knows what he's talking
We love
about. Not like
Daryl.
that knucklehead from earlier.
All right.
G.
Let's
Bush
see.
has a
Skilly
colt,
up
so-
He
next.
does have a cult.
Draft need order. Quarterback, wide receiver, then running back.
Quarterback, wide receiver.
They're not going to draft a quarterback.
No, I think you were saying in
No,
the
what
trade
do you
deadline.
what like
yeah.
your needs? Like quarterback,
receiver,
wide
running
receivers,
back
or running
would be me.
back.
I like that. That's a good order.
Quarterback,
I'd say
receiver,
quarterback,
Quarterback,
running back, wide receiver for me.
No, it's
Okay.
the other way.
If you're going to get the starting count. Why are you such a rush? We got 3 minutes.
We got to get all the members in at the end.
Yeah, I got
go
to give
ahead.
all of our members a shout
ahead.
out real quick. So we'll run through these last ones. Bull, you look like Trailer Swift. That's from Evan 419.
Now that guy's good. Who's that guy?
Evan 419 is
runs
a
our
Evan
football league.
419. Well done. buddy.
Evan
I
419
do look like
OG.
Trailer Swift. You're
From
right.
Skilly one more time as he renewed his membership. Not quite a first day member, but Skilly, we still love you. From Varnell Jackson, Bulls World, party time, excellent. And then from
Yeah, that
Michael,
works too.
I'd trade the Guardians back to the Indians, which.
Okay.
And then I don't know where that came from. Jacob Evans, what about Case Keenum? Was here, won 13 games with Stefanski in Minnesota.
he don't
Nah.
fit. He just don't fit the black and mobile.
He's barely played, and he's not black and mobile. I agree with that.
All right.
We got to
So-
give some members a shout out.
At
These
least,
are the
Jacoby
OGs.
Brissett is
Do you want
half
me to
of
read
it,
these?
You know?
I can't see, so it's all you, Ed.
All right.
God.
So our first anniversary we got up. Kellen Hunter, and Arnold Colvin, photo Poot Shoot Riot,
Poot Shoot Riot.
the guard 16,
Yeah, Bob
and G
Levine.
Money Walker.
And before we go on, these
Can
guys
we
are
read
people
them?
celebrating their 1-year anniversary as
These are the
members of
first
the Ultimate
day
Cleveland
member
Sports
buyers.
Show.
These are people who bought on the first day because the
Shout out to
membership
y'all,
started
man.
October 31st, 2022.
These-
Evan 419, we mentioned
Yep.
all the time. Big Mike, Nick Morgan, T Fields,
Phil
Phil Bowman.
We got one more. Let's go back to the first so Bull can read them all off.
Yeah, William Wise, our man Eddie Everhart.
Eddie,
Eddie, proud mom, 1997.
the flick.
Shout
That's
out.
Anthony's mom,
Yeah, I
right?
guess
That is
Oh, I guess
that
that
is.
is.
And the Flick Life. Go back to the first
Go back to
one.
the first one. They all deserve a shout out one more
Yeah,
time.
let's
You
do
guys
it.
are the OGs. We love you. We thank you. We cannot say thank
Bring
you
the first
enough.
page up again. There we go. Kellen Hunter, Arnold Colvin, Poot Shoot Riot, love that. The Guard 16 and G Money Walker. Thanks to all of you who joined us immediately
Poot
on the
Shoot
first day that
Riot.
we added the memberships on October 31st. We are approaching, wait a second, 11. We are approaching our 1.5-year anniversary of the show.
We are.
November 9th will be 1.5 years that we've been on the air, period.
And there are other.
I'm changing my gamer tag on PlayStation.
Poot
to
Shoot?
Poot Shoot Riot.
There's also people who joined memberships, not the first day, but within the first couple
week,
days.
and
And we're
we'll
going to continue
shout
to
them
shout
out.
them out on their 1-year anniversary tomorrow,
Yes.
Thursday, and Friday.
We love all
We love
of
you
you.
guys. We thank you. We cannot say thank you
Even
enough.
the jerk who said he wouldn't watch because G. Bush wasn't here, we love you too. You were out of pocket today.
Make sure
we'll
you-
forgive you tomorrow.
He better have a bunch of G. Bush Panda merchandise.
Yeah. That's it. We'll see you on overtime. What are we talking about overtime?
Little
Anything?
Cavs on overtime.
Cabs. Maybe Amani Bates will actually make a basket. We'll see you.